Saturday, calling him everything that Donald Trump and Mike Pence are not. Kaine quickly displayed what may turn out to be one of the biggest attributes on the campaign trail, his fluency in Spanish, delivering remarks in both Spanish and English at Florida International University in Miami, a school with 60% Hispanic student population. Kaine is Virginia's former governor and, prior to that, the mayor of Richmond. He made a point of highlighting his unblemished campaign win-loss record throughout his career, saying to Applause, "I've never lost an election. I don't mind powerful groups campaigning against me. It's just like an extra cup of coffee to me." Kaine acknowledged average Americans may not have heard of him before, but pledged he would work hard to convince voters he is worthy of being a heartbeat away from the presidency. Kaine is a married father of 3 with a son in the Marines who is about to deploy to Europe. He made a point of mentioning his son's military service as a means to attack Trump over comments he made recently about refusing to defend NATO allies if attacked by Russia. Clinton introduced Kaine at the rally, calling him ready to become president at a moment's notice. Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs offers premium publicity campaigns designed to facilitate an organization's adoption of Bitcoin as a payment system and to fully capitalize on that decision in their fundraising efforts. Bitcoin Not Bombs is fully committed to being the hub of the nonprofit sector of the Bitcoin economy, maximizing the potential cross-promotion of all our clients and commercial partners. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com. Reuters reports the Dallas Police Department, which was struggling to recruit officers, has seen a surge in job applications after the shooting this month that killed 5 officers and brought global attention to the Texas city. During the 12 days following the July 7th shooting, the department said it got 467 job applications, a 344% increase compared with the 136 in a similar period in June. Recently, the police department has had to cancel academy classes because there were not enough applicants. Potential officers in the North Texas region have often opted for departments in fast-growing cities surrounding Dallas, where starting pay is typically higher than in Dallas. Dallas Police Chief David Brown put out the call for new recruits at a news conference last week, where he spoke of the deaths of 5 officers and the actions of others to save lives at a rally that marked the deadliest day for U.S. law enforcement since September 11th, 2001. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
If you live in Williamsburg, chances are good you've seen them. Giant piles of beard hair rotting in the streets. Don't worry, it just means hipster molting season is here again. Experts say the husks of dead beards don't pose a threat to public safety and are just part of the natural life cycle of these strange organisms.
Once a year, all at the same time, every 20-something urban male sheds his ironic beard to make room for larger, more fanciful facial hair. They need the beards. They're a tough exoskeleton that protects these young people from the non-whimsical realities of life.
The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service says it's the largest molting season on record. In Brooklyn, sanitation crews are working overtime to clean up the loose whiskers the exuviating males have left behind. The affected youth's molting season comes right before their mating season, when the males use their lush beards to impress the local hordes of burlesque females.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, and it's the live Sunday edition of the program. Of course, you're invited to join us here. The toll-free number for you is 855-450-FREE. Skype username LRN.FM. And, of course, as always, you can bring up whatever you want to discuss. Mark and Ian in the studio. I'm Ian. That's
I'm
Mark. We're going to talk, actually, Mark, about your experience in Vegas. I teased it last week, not really knowing when we were going to get the chance to discuss it, because we ended up going to San Francisco in the middle of the week. And then
I left a couple of weeks ago to do Freedom Fest. I was gone for a week. I went straight to San Francisco. We had to do
after Freedom Fest.
Yeah,
in Vegas.
Right, from Freedom Fest to San Francisco for D10E. We had to do a live to tape show there because of the the constraints under which we were working, and then we had to come back here on a red eye, and then of course Saturday night, which tends to be a I don't know. The show just it's less about the hosts, I guess, more about what's going on, and then now's the first day we would have had a chance to even talk about it.
So you told me last week that you got robbed in Vegas. Now, when I hear about somebody getting robbed, I think weapon. Somebody's holding you up at knife point or gun point.
Yeah, you weren't very. Once I told you the story, you didn't really act like like you felt like this was a genuine robbery.
I would consider it a scam more so than an actual robbery, but there was definitely some force used against you. I mean, that was true.
That's kind of the definition of robbery. Like somebody steals something and uses force. That's a robbery. But nonetheless,
Yeah.
I'll tell the story rather than sort of tickling around it here. So
you were alone.
Yep, I arrived in Las Vegas after 22 hours in transit from my house to Vegas.
Now, your wife came with you, but she was, what, in the hotel room or something like that?
She was in the hotel. We had to spend the night in Midway sleeping in chairs. I slept in chairs. She pretty much stayed up all night. She really can't sleep like that. So I let her crash in the hotel. She had packed up a bag for me to, bring the microphone stands and the papers and all the things that we needed. It was probably a 50-pound suitcase bag. And I was going to wear my suit, obviously, so I'm wearing my suit, and I'm pulling this heavy bag behind me. I miscalculated on how far the hotel was to the convention casino thing, and I would have probably have taken an Uber if I'd have known the distance, but, I was going along. And for those that know the area, and some will, I was heading down. I was on the, I was going to from basically the Wynn to Planet Hollywood, and I was probably 2/3 of the way. And this was at
several blocks.
Yeah, several blocks, Margaritaville, and this woman was crossing the street at an area where this is jaywalking, and jaywalking on the Strip is a pretty big deal. Yeah, there's a fence running down the middle of this particular area. It's a decorative fence, but how she got through there, I don't even know. Did she get dropped off?
The fence runs down what, the middle of the street?
The middle of the median.
The median, okay.
Yeah. So I don't know how she got where she was. I wasn't paying a lot of attention to her. I just noticed this woman. She was talking to herself. People talk to themselves in Las Vegas. She was, saying something to the effect of, "Who does that guy think he is?" or something like that. And, she comes up on the sidewalk there. She's going to cross behind me. And so I'm pulling my bag, and I feel this kind of funny bump. I didn't really, think anything about the person that was, I had just seen. I just felt this funny bump. I looked back, looked to the other side behind me just to see whether the suitcase had done anything, and nothing was weird. So I continued walking, and I didn't really stop. I was just looking while I walked 3 or 4 more steps, and she begins hollering about how I broke her toenail. And she comes there, I stopped. This woman's yelling, and, she showed me in fact, broken toenail. There's no doubt about that. Now, I don't know if she broke her toenail on my suitcase, if she intentionally put it there, whether she just ran into the back of my suitcase, but I felt about as responsible as I would if I was driving an 18-wheeler and somebody hit my tail light, which is to say, not responsible for the accident, right?
Okay.
As an adult, you need to look out where you're walking.
You did not purposely run her over. You did not even know she was there.
I didn't hit her. Yeah, I didn't hit her. She hit me. She hit my suitcase. So, from that standpoint, I said, I'm terribly sorry, but I didn't really feel responsible. I gave platitudes. I gave lip service to the situation. I wasn't rude, like, "Hey, you dummy, look where you're going." I didn't say those things. Security, on the other hand, saw the incident, said that it was her fault, sent her on her way.
Oh, okay.
She didn't particularly like that, and she had something to say to them, but they ran her off. Look, I don't know why this lady was dressed up in full makeup with stick-on eyelashes and pedicures and flip-flops and an evening dress at 10 o'clock in the morning, but I'm going to guess that her occupation was hooker, okay?
Okay.
That's just me taking a guess, 45 years of experience in life and what might go on in Las Vegas. And you can say that I'm, being stereotypical or whatever, that's up to you. So she goes on down. Remember, you can only go forward or back here, and she goes the direction I have to go. She saw the direction I had to go, and that's the direction she was going. I didn't really think much about it. I probably could have gone into Margaritaville and, I don't know, played the slots for a few minutes and waited for the coast to clear. I didn't really think about doing that. But
You just thought, oh, this is a crazy person.
That's mostly what I thought.
Right.
Well, the crazy person was waiting for me around the corner as I, went down the way, and then she begins hollering for the police. She says I'm going to pay her $100 for her toe, which is now fractured as opposed to just the toenail being broken, and she's calling for security and police and these sorts of things. And I'm like, look, you just talked to security and they told you you were at fault and that, to forget this. She doesn't want that security. She wants new security that she can tell a story to rather than
because they saw it happen.
Right. So
the other security.
The other security. So I'm like, look, if you want to call the police, that's fine, but I'm going this way and you can come with me. Well, she says she's not going to call the police because, she doesn't want, because I'm not waiting, basically. She grabs my shirt. She's trying to stop me. I remove her shirt bodily, her hand bodily from my shirt. And she attempts to slap me in the face.
Wow.
Now, 8.5 years in prison. I'm hard to hit in the face. Okay. Just a little clue for you.
You did boxing in prison, didn't you?
Well, yeah. I mean, as best we could. Yes.
Yeah.
And so I dodged her. She reached to scratch at my face a couple of times. I dodged those things. And I just didn't really think of what the possibilities were here. I never felt physically threatened. Mm-hmm. I guess I felt this little woman trying to slap at me just wasn't that threatening. And within a few steps, she grabs my glasses off of my face. Now, it's not that I can't see without my glasses, but I can't see well without my glasses.
Okay.
I'm also in a suit and pulling a 50-pound suitcase behind me.
Yep.
Running's not an option.
Now, this is Vegas. Yeah, I know it's 10 in the morning, but it's got to still be a lot of people on the streets. So
there were some people around, but they're
like, whoa, we don't want to have anything to do with this.
They're basic. Well, what's this look like?
Right.
It looks like a guy who's having
boyfriend or whatever.
Well,
right?
the guy who's having trouble with his hooker, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's ultimately what it looks like. Nobody cares if you're having trouble with your hooker negotiations. Mm-hmm. And it looked nothing like this woman had, just found me out of off the street and began hassling me. Generally, when people have trouble with hookers in Vegas, it's because they've in some way or another initiated the action, or at least been party to the action. I had been party to nothing other than pulling a suitcase along. So I understand why people didn't want to be involved, but I will point out that it is really worth pointing out at this point, this is female privilege. Okay?
Had you been attacking her?
Yeah, right. If my wife had been along and she'd have decked this lady right in the teeth, then it would have been a completely different situation, or whatever had happened. If I'd have had a woman, I would have been protected. But I didn't in that circumstance. Because I was male, no one would help me. And because I was male, I probably couldn't even hit her. I honestly never considered hitting this woman. A lot of people have mentioned the notion to me since then. But it would have it looked like she could take a punch, right? It's like this probably wouldn't be her first punch.
A little rough and tumble.
Well, she's a hooker in Vegas. I mean, it's not like she's never been punched before.
All right, so she grabs your glasses, and we'll continue the story here in moments. And if you've got a good robbery story on the streets, you want to share that with us, toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Obviously, hindsight's 20/20, so what would you have done differently if you were in the same situation? It's Free Talk Live.
All right, listen up, because this is the most important thing you're going to hear all day. What if I said you could make money flipping houses without any cash, credit, or manual labor? And what if I said you could do it part-time from the comfort of your home? Sound unflippin' believable? Hi, I'm Preston Ely, and I'm going to prove it by sending you a free copy of my smash hit selling book, How to Get Rich in Real Estate. It sells online for $19.95, but I'm giving away free copies this week. To get one before they're gone, call 1-800-960-4295. I used to be so broke. I had my electricity shut off 9 times, but I figured out a simple way to make money flipping houses without even breaking a sweat. Now I'm living the good life, and so should you. Listen, if you're sick and tired of stressing about money, this book could change your life. Hands down, it's the fastest, easiest way to get started in real estate. Let me prove it. Call right now to find out how to get your free book. When they're gone, they're gone. Call 1-800-960-4295. 1-800-960-4295.
This is a healthcare alert from the Pain Relief Hotline. If you, a family member, or a loved one suffers from knee, back, shoulder, or ankle pain and have Medicare as your primary insurance, we've got great news. You don't have to suffer any longer. You can immediately qualify for a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you by calling our 24/7 pain relief hotline at 866-389-0620. Delivery is free and all paperwork is handled for you. If you are on Medicare and have knee, back, shoulder, or ankle pain, don't wait. You can qualify to immediately receive a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost by calling our 24/7 pain hotline now at 866-389-0620. Our representatives are standing by 24/7 to take your call and rush you your pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you. Shipping is free and all paperwork is handled for you. Just call 866-389-0620. That's 866-389-0620. Again, 866-389-0620.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Arcade City is a ride-sharing app built by drivers, not a mega corporation. As a driver with Arcade City, you can keep all of what you earn. Sign up now to drive for or ride with Arcade City at arcade.freetalklive.com. Arcade City is connecting drivers directly with riders and has been making headlines for disrupting the ride-sharing industry. Sign up now at arcade.freetalklive.com. That's arcade.freetalklive.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. It's the live Sunday edition of the program, and of course, you can join us here toll-free at 855-450-FREE. We're going to continue with Mark's story about his robbery, which is pretty atypical kind of a robbery. Normally you think of somebody holding a knife to somebody's back or a gun or something like that. In this case, we don't know if this lady had any kind of weaponry whatsoever, but she managed to steal your glasses from you, Mark, and we'll tell you, listeners, the rest of the story here in moments. It, again, happened on the streets of Vegas, on the Strip, right?
Yep, right on the Strip, out 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yep, so we'll tell you the rest of that story. Also, if you've got Bitcoin, I want you to check out and download the official wallet of Free Talk Live. It's called Jaxx, and you can get it at jaxx.io or your favorite app store, and it's cross-platform, which means you can get the Jaxx wallet for your smartphone, tablet, or personal computer, your desktop, your laptop, Windows, Mac, Linux, even browser plugins for Chrome and Firefox, of course, iOS and Android device versions as well. And all of those will allow you to access your Bitcoin and Ether and DAO tokens. And apparently they're going to be adding more currencies in the future with the Jaxx wallet. It was created by Anthony Diorio. You might know him as the creator of CryptoKit and longtime Free Talk Live listener and supporter. Super easy to back up your wallet and recover funds with Jaxx. So if you lose your phone, not the end of the world as long as you've gone through the backup process. That should be one of the first things you do once you get it installed. And by the way, there's Shapeshift integration now, which is a relatively new feature with Jaxx, which is awesome because it allows you to convert easily from one cryptocurrency to another right there in the Jaxx wallet. It's pretty awesome. Go check it out. It's the official wallet of Free Talk Live, Jax. Go to jaxx.io. Jax is striving to give you command over your digital life, coins, contracts, currencies, identity, and more. It's your digital command center in the palm of your hand. jaxx.io. Or again, you go to your favorite app store. It's available through that as well. So, Mark, you're on the streets of Vegas. This is last week. There's some lady who claims you ran her toe over, broke her toe, allegedly. First it was a broken toenail, then it was just a fractured toe or something. So it got worse, apparently. Within, how many minutes are we talking about here? How long did this go on, estimate?
I'm going to call it 10.
10 minutes. So she's haranguing you on the streets over the alleged broken toe. Security in front of a hotel says, look, lady, this is some kind of scam. Leave this guy alone. And so she gets off the property of that hotel and then waits for you up the street, where she begins to assault you at that point, grabs your shirt, and then ultimately grabs your glasses right off of your face. And that's where we left the story.
And this isn't, I do have a pair of sort of throwaway glasses that I got for like $100 off the internet, but I'm not wearing those. I'm wearing my good glasses that I got from the optometrist. And
why wouldn't you? Yeah.
Anybody who wears glasses is familiar with the costs here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can get a pair of glasses from the optometrist for less than $500.
Wow.
But, they're expensive, and you get the high level of service, and they're really great when they're clean. I can see perfect, and that's, or as perfect as I can, because I have I have a problem that most people aren't familiar with. I have a lesion on my retina.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, and it's growing, and I'll probably lose sight in that eye entirely. But up to this point, I'm just trying to be able to see.
On the positive side, you can wear an eye patch then.
Yeah, well, I can wear a monocle right now because the vision in the other eye is fine.
You don't see enough monocles.
No, that's because you can't get one made.
Really? Really?
What am I going to do? How am I going to get a monocle made and then wear it? So anyway. Yeah, because the one side of these glasses is all it is the
see-through
transition. Yeah. Well, transition for reading glasses.
Okay.
So, I mean, it holds reading glasses on my face.
Got it.
Anyway, the lady takes my glasses from me. So these are, $800 glasses or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. My wife said that was a little high, but whatever. That's the number that was flashing through my head when she grabbed them. And a slow speed chase ensued up and down the escalators. We were on the crosswalk, which goes over the street at this point. And so I'm going down the escalators, up the escalators. I'm like, this lady has my glasses. People are like, whatever.
None of my business.
Whatever.
Yep.
Nobody wanted anything to do with me and whatever problem I'm having with what appeared to be a hooker,
Right.
So.
Hey, you should have paid the lady, right? That's what they're thinking.
That's what they're thinking, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You got whatever you got, pal. You started a situation with a hooker. Well, I didn't have any idea what was going on, and she just kind of found me. So at some point or another, believe me, this is why I think that this lady doesn't do the robbery thing for a living. She goes into the elevator, the handicap elevator, back up to the crosswalk with me by ourselves. Now, you don't steal somebody's grown man's glasses
and then get into
and
an
be
elevator.
a 5-foot-tall woman and then get into an elevator with no one alone with him. But again, I never considered hitting this person.
Okay.
And this whole time, physical force never entered my mind.
Even though you probably would have been within your rights
according to the non-aggression principle. But let's talk about that football player from a couple of years ago who hit his girlfriend who was assaulting him on video.
Yeah. It usually doesn't look good in the public
NFL and
image.
everybody wanted his skin. They wanted his head on a pike.
Wow.
And all he did was strike back at a person who was hitting on him. So if I had hit this person and managed to get my glasses back, how would it have looked for me? It's not like I can't, it's not like I don't have some level of fame. It could be it could be a pretty bad thing for Free Talk Live and me if I would have decked her. I don't know. Again, it looked like this lady could take a punch. You know what I mean? So you don't. This isn't Hollywood. You don't just hit somebody one time. If you hit somebody one time, you make them very angry. Mm-hmm. You've got to knock. If you're going to hit somebody, you hit them until they stay on the ground. that's the way these things go. This isn't Queensberry rules or anything like that once the glasses are stolen. I don't, not about that. So I had, again, I'd never...
You're trying to persuade her to give the glasses back.
Right, she's not persuadable.
She gets in the elevator, you follow her in there.
Yeah, she's not persuadable. She wants $100.
And what is she doing with the glasses? She have them in her hand, like holding them away from you?
She was holding them in her purse? At first she was holding them up over the rail. She was going to throw them in the street. Once we got in the elevator, she put them up underneath her shoe, and she was standing, had her leg up over them, like she was going to crush them.
Oh.
She did have them in her hand for a period of time in the elevator, and then thought better of that position, and so then puts it underneath her foot. That's where I'm at. I'm, either you want the glasses back or you don't, pal. And she doesn't really care at this point. One way or the other, she's angry at me for whatever it is that her perceived slight. So I felt like I got nothing I can do. I negotiated the $100 down to $47, and that's what I had sort of in my pocket, I thought. But it turned out my wife had given me another $100 bill. So then I'm like, oh, geez. Now I pull the money out, and I've got a $100 bill after this. Told this lady I didn't have $100. Nonetheless, I managed to get the glasses for $47. As I'm, and she gave them to me. I gave her the money. As I'm walking away, I put them back in my face, and then I turn back around to her and say, oh, I better put these in my pocket. Something might happen to them. And that's the last time I saw the glasses-stealing hooker in Vegas.
Wow. How far into your vacation or the trip was that?
We had arrived at the hotel maybe an
Same
hour.
day. Okay.
Yeah, an hour, and then walking down the strip, maybe a half an hour tops. So hour and a half there on Vegas, robbed at 10 o'clock in the morning on the strip in front of Margaritaville. Yeah.
The toll-free number tonight, if you've got a robbery story you want to tell, you can join us here at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
I'd also be interested in ideas on how I could have handled this better. I guess I'm always looking for that. How could I have done this better?
All right, well, we can look at that. And if you've got a suggestion, dial on in here and join us. You can also call us on Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. This is Free Talk Live.
This is an alert. If your business or church is building this year, you're about to pay more than you should. This could mean thousands of dollars more for your office, retail space, church, or warehouse. A General Steel building can save you as much as half the cost and time of similar conventional construction. And we're offering rebates of up to $20,000 to help you build today. Call General Steel for free information that could save you thousands. Call 866-91-STEEL. 866-91-STEEL. 866-91-STEEL.
Worried about lead, fluoride, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Get a ProPure with the Pro 1G 2.0 cleanable reusable filter and remove up to 200 contaminants. Drink water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure products, including the new ProMax shower filter. There's a ProPure for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
If you're looking for work, the person you are applying to is probably so swamped with applicants that he or she is tough to reach. So call early in the day, before 8 a.m., before the palace guards arrive. You'll need your prospect's direct number, and here's a sneaky way to get it. Suppose the company's main number is 555-5000. You should call 555-5012. When someone says, "Good morning, Pam Johnson," you should innocently say, "Oops, somebody here must have written this down wrong. I was calling for Tom Frederick. What's his direct number?" If the very next thing you hear isn't Pam giving you Tom's number, it may be, "Good morning, Tom Frederick." For more tips for job seekers and getting better results in all your day-to-day communication, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Wednesday, gold is $18 lower at $1,317 per ounce. Silver is 40 cents lower at $19.50 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $670 US. Talk of a possible Fed rate hike later this year has silver and gold down sharply, making it a great time to buy on the dip. For more information, give us a call at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live.
To be free is to be clear-headed.
I do encourage people.
Somebody gets down and smokes a joint and gets high. They sit on the couch and they turn into a blob.
Yeah, well, I don't think you know much about people that smoke pot, Christy.
Right. Yeah, Christy.
They procrastinate. That's what you guys were talking about on your show tonight.
Cliche.
About
Okay, then, Christy, then what I can say then is that people that don't smoke pot make sweeping generalizations, because you just did. It seems like the vast majority of humans use some kind of substance throughout their day or week.
Not Christy. She doesn't.
Well,
what a sad state of affairs.
Do you have a cup of coffee in the morning, Christy?
And at this time in our history, if that's
we've always done it, Christy. It's been done throughout humans. People, how many people do you know, Christy, that can't function without a cup of coffee?
Well, you have to have a piece of bread to live, to survive.
We're not talking about food.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live, and this is the Sunday edition of the program. You can join us online. Just go to freetalklive.com and enjoy the features on the site. If you would like to help support the show, one of the ways that you can do that is by amping Free Talk Live at amp.freetalklive.com. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. We talked actually in detail about the status of the AMP program on last night's show in the after show, which is something that only podcast listeners get access to. So if you didn't get to hear, if you're a radio listener and you've never checked that out, you should go to freetalklive.com, download last night's show, and you can hear it was about a half-hour long after show that we threw in there to kind of talk about the latest on the satellite fundraiser and the AMP program and just some other stuff. So please go to the AMP program at amp.freetalklive.com. You can sign up there for $5 a month through any major credit card via PayPal or Visa or MasterCard. We're working on Bitcoin. I do not have an ETA on the completion of that feature, but it is being investigated as we speak. But you can join the AMP program right now, and it makes a big difference for us when you do that. So please get behind the show. It's a great way to support Free Talk Live, to support the message of liberty and peace going out around the world and around the United States. So go to amp.freetalklive.com. You get access to special perks like the AMP-only call-in lines, the AMP-only Facebook group, the AMP-only podcast, and more. Go to amp.freetalklive.com. As we go to Ricky, he's in Pennsylvania. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Ricky.
Yes.
Ricky, you're on the air.
Brother Mark.
Yes,
I love
Ricky.
you guys.
Thank you.
No problem. I had a quick question, a little bit for Mark, and then I had one question for you, if it's okay, Ian.
Sure.
Okay, first of all, Mark, I know you were out of town, but Ian's aware of this. I seem to be drawing a lot of attention from some.
From whom?
What does that
and
mean?
I am having, like the individual from says he was from Huntington, PA, but that's not what I'm calling tonight.
Well, if you're not calling about it, then why'd you mention it?
Well, because that goes to my second question. Just hang in there, please.
Okay, go ahead.
Now,
All right.
Now, Mark, if I could.
You are here. Go for it.
I'm having a little difficulty amping because of the things I'm involved in, because I'm looking to reverse engineer BB&T. I will be amping at the beginning. Yes, I have. That's why it's dangerous for me to call in your show. That's why I drew so much attention.
Reverse
now, that being said,
I'm lost right now.
What does reverse engineer a bank
Don't be
mean?
lost. Please don't hang up.
I'm not hanging up on you, but you got to answer this question, because I was going to ask the same thing, Mark, and that is, what do you mean reverse engineer a bank? You're going to break in?
Like you would an EXE. Basically, I'm going to take down that illegal takeover, and I have the evidence to do it. And by the way, Mark, no, really.
Okay,
really,
go ahead.
Mark,
So, yeah, because you'd
something
called
at the end of
previously,
last
I want
night's
our listeners to be brought up to speed. You'd called previously saying that BB&T was going to be buying out some local Pennsylvania-based bank, and you claimed that that's illegal.
Yeah, it would, because it's unconstitutional, pursuant to Section 25 and 26.
Why do you care so much about this other bank?
Because they already took over 41 branches of Citibank in Texas. They then took over the Bank of Kentucky. This is when they were started disguising it as mergers. Then they hit Susquehanna, and then National Penn Bank started the Penn part, the last of it, by William Penn himself.
Okay.
So that's okay. So
that doesn't explain to me why you care. It's just a bank.
Because it's a Commonwealth bank. In Pennsylvania, we go by Commonwealth law. My lawyer is a Commonwealth lawyer who practices Commonwealth law.
Okay,
now,
so
that's not what, what was important about tonight was I wanted to talk to Mark about amping.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, you see, Mark, back when I was in business, I don't give to many charities. I will the Salvation Army, or it's my hand to someone else's because of special interest groups.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe in you, Mark, and I believe you're pure. And I'm going to tell you something. At the end of the show yesterday, you mentioned about when somewhere has, how did you put it exactly, has, it's for the people, by the people, and the ability with the electorate and all of that. Remember that last night?
I'm not entirely certain of what you're referring to. No, I'm sorry.
Well, basically that you can vote in and vote out everybody you want based on good behavior. Kind of.
Okay.
Okay, it works like this. You see, in Pennsylvania, now I'm going to give you the numbers you need to look at. And if you look at the copy of 1968, we're talking Section 2. We're talking Section...
What are you talking about? Are you still talking about the bank takeover?
No.
You're all over the map, Ricky. You've got to focus in like a laser.
I am focused.
Well, maybe in your head you're focused, but I'm telling you, when you've been calling the show, and you've called now every night for the last 2 to 3 weeks, and maybe slightly longer than that.
The individual who threatened you, he obviously had... Remember, Greg? The man that said he was a black man and said you could ask him a question as a black man. You asked him about open carrying a gun. We both.
Are we talking about like weeks ago? That didn't happen last night. Look, what I'm trying to tell you, Ricky, is that you're all over the map. It is near to impossible to understand. Like, you can speak sentences and talk to someone, but the more sentences you speak, the more confusing you become. So at first you're talking about reverse engineering this bank. Now you're talking about things that had happened last night on the show or on previous shows.
Let me slow down.
I don't think that's going to help, but go ahead. Try.
Okay. When I was talking about BB&T and I was mentioning the things that some were laughing at, I drew his attention because he called in. Greg from Hutchinson. He says he was from Hutchinson, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And I say he's not from Pennsylvania. I know one thing, and he thinks I'm.
You think this is a conspiracy theory that there's people who work for the bank that are trying to stop you from?
No, I
say
takeover? No. I know what he wants. He wants me because of what I'm saying.
And what does he want with you? Does he want to have sex with you? Does he want to kill you?
No.
What is it that he wants from you? Money?
Because I'm speaking out as an anti-federalist, a Jeffersonian.
So you
Brother,
think
you're 200 years too late.
You think he called into the show to sort of call you out? Is that the idea?
I think he did it, and he also threatened Ian, and I'll tell you why.
I don't remember being threatened on this show, Ricky. You might be living in a alternative universe.
Well, do you remember asking about open carry?
Where things happen?
Let him say. Go ahead, open carry.
Remember what he said, Ian?
No,
I don't remember any of this.
You, as a host, can ask me a question as a black man. That immediately made him a racist. Second of all, he put you in a bad position in Darryl, too.
No, that doesn't make him a racist. A racist is somebody who believes that one race is superior to another. And saying something about being black does not mean that you are a racist. Look, Ricky, I know you had another point, but this has been way too much on the first one. So thanks for the call. You can call another night and confuse the hell out of us. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. I'm trying. I really... I try my best to understand what people are saying. I ask questions to try to clarify a situation, but when somebody is just so beyond into the realm of their own mind or whatever it is that's going on with Ricky, it gets really difficult.
I'm not entirely sure what it was all about either. But okay.
Yeah. So there you go. Toll-free number
All the
here.
best.
855-450-FREE. You can join us. The toll-free number again, 855-450-3733. He was saying he was trying to amp, but because of who he is or whatever, he can't do it. Look, you can amp the show with a prepaid credit card as far as I know. I mean, so if you really wanted to amp Free Talk Live, you would find a way to accomplish that. Heck, we'll even take gold or silver. I mean, there have been people who've contacted us like, hey, can I send you this gold or silver or whatever? Actually, it's silver. No one's ever sent gold. But can I send you a few ounces of silver? Sure. I mean, it doesn't really do much for the show because we can't spend the silver on anything of use. We'd have to cash it out and then spend it on stuff, or have somebody buy it for Bitcoin. But we can hold on to it, and I appreciate it. So whenever somebody wants to give to Free Talk Live, I definitely appreciate it. In fact, one of our listeners in federal prison is giving his entire federal paycheck to Free Talk Live, 50 cents per month.
I think his paycheck's 75, and he just gives 50%. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, is it 50% of his paycheck?
No, it's more than 50%.
Well, whatever it is, it's a
Two-thirds.
huge chunk of this man's income, and I appreciate it. Even though it's a small amount to us, to him, that's a lot of money. This is Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way.
You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Hey,
who do you think you are?
Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. This is...
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait on account. Now. Wait a minute.
Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me.
What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this?
Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message.
Are you sick of government lackeys who say you didn't build that? Are you tired of elitists who think you need a government permission slip for everything? Everything you do is an A to B conversation, and the government should see their way out of it. Create true free markets by adopting the BIPCOT No Government License. The BIPCOT No Gov license allows use or modification of any product, service, or software except by governments or government agents. Go to BIPCOT.org. That's Bravo, India, Papa, Charlie, Oscar, Tango.org.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live, the live Sunday edition of the program. You're invited to join us on the radio here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Apparently, there's a huge fence going up all around the Philadelphia convention site for the Democratic National Convention that is expected to start tomorrow. We can talk about some of the security measures there. Plus, last week, apparently, the FBI conducted a no-knock, no-warrant raid on activists during the Republican National Convention. We'll tell you about that here when we get a chance. But your calls come first to the phones and to the fun. We go to Greg in Pennsylvania, and we had a guy on Ricky earlier talking about a Greg who'd called in, and I don't remember everybody who calls the show. I couldn't even tell you who called last night, so I didn't remember you, Greg. But as soon as your face showed up on the Skype, I instantly remembered you because you're recognizable and memorable. So here you are. I guess you were the Greg he was talking about.
Yeah, Ricky was referring to me. I don't know Ricky from anybody, but yeah, Ricky, I'm in Pennsylvania, and I'm getting into your head. I simply called you guys probably about a week ago. We were talking about the carry law in Cleveland, just in fact in time for the Republican convention. And I wanted you to share what your feelings were on whether or not that was something that we should be able to do. And it just so happens I happen to be a black guy. I mean, I've been black all my life. I actually tell people I started out in radio. I was blonde and blue-eyed, and this is what happens when you get burnt out after 45 years. But now, Ricky, there's no conspiracy. I don't even know these guys. I call them from time to time. We run their network on my network. I looked for some alternative programming because we do mostly sports locally and regionally, and quite frankly, you guys do a hell of a good job. But I think Ricky's saying I'm getting into his head somehow.
Well, he's definitely something's in his head. I don't know if it's you
let me ask you
or
this.
an alien.
A very significant phone call for him to believe
regular
it's you.
caller of yours or something?
He is one of our newest chronic callers. Yes, he calls the show every single night.
Dude, whatever you're smoking, man, give it up. You know what I'm saying? It's like move on with your life. Yeah, there's no conspiracy here. I don't know these guys. I'm close to Penn State University. I'm like an old dude, you know what I'm saying? I deal with geeks, like young techie people. I'm a geezer, and quite frankly, I can't hurt anyone.
All right, well, I appreciate you clarifying that, but somebody who's a paranoid conspiracy theorist is, of course, not going to believe a word that comes out of your mouth.
That's true. That's true.
You might as well be shouting at a fan.
Good luck to you guys. You make for interesting dialogue anyhow.
So what else is going on in your world, Greg? Anything you want to share about the conventions or anything that's on your mind?
Well, interesting enough, I'm watching 60 Minutes tonight, and I'm watching Hillary and her running mate. I believe the governor of one of the states.
Virginia, I think.
Yeah, we're looking forward to the Democratic convention after that circus last week with the Republicans. And, I don't know. Maybe I'm going to vote Libertarian this year. But then again, I want my vote to count. I don't.
Oh, come on. Your vote will be counted if you vote Libertarian.
Well, that's true. That's true. But I mean,
you might not be voting for the winner, but ultimately, whether it's Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump who wins, we're all going to lose.
If the winner wins by 10,000 votes, and you're only the difference between 9,999 and 10,000, so you might as well vote. Mathematically, there has never been an instance where one person has made a difference in a presidential election in the U.S., so you might as well vote what you prefer.
I think you should vote what's closest to your belief system. Odds are good. Right. None of the presidential contenders will be in line with you on everything, but someone is going to be a little bit better than the rest of the pack. Whoever that is.
My philosophy is, quite frankly, this. At the age of 62, and I've seen a lot of elections, and I went through the Vietnam era and that whole deal. And I spent most of my life in music radio. The reality is, here's where I'm at. It's like, yeah, I have to vote for basically my conscience, and the bottom line is there are certain things that I believe in because of my belief system and the way I grew up. And unfortunately, I've seen a lot of things happen to black people over years and years and years and years.
Oh, yeah.
See the bill of goods that they sell us in the Democratic Party, of course, the Republican Party, the party of Lincoln, and he freed the slaves. So if he would not have freed us, I could probably still be working on somebody.
He didn't really, though, did he? I mean,
no, he didn't. He did.
Lincoln actually fought the Civil War to keep the Union together. He didn't really care.
He didn't free a slave in a country that he was president of.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Like every other politician, he's just a scumbag, just like the rest of them are today. But as far as people being abused in their rights, obviously the police do not treat minorities very well. They don't treat poor people very well. And I suspect that the police state.
On the city.
I think that the police state is going to continue under both Trump and Clinton. Probably Jill Stein from the Green Party and Gary Johnson from the Libertarian Party are two characters who, at the very least, understand the problem with the police state. What they're willing to do about it, I don't know. But
and those two folks will garner some votes. But the reality is, where are those votes coming from? Either Hillary or from Donald.
That's false. That's not necessarily true. There are a number of people who have never voted who would vote for a third party if they knew about them. There are people who are frustrated with the Republicans and the Democrats, and they're not wanting to vote for either one of them anyway.
And my vote doesn't belong to Trump or Clinton, so it doesn't come from them. It comes from me. So.
Well, here we need to aside to the I don't know, the rhetoric that Ricky just spilled out. It's like, Ricky, we're not out to get you. It's like, dude, just come to the table and speak some half-decent dialogue, and I think everybody will be okay with that.
Greg, thanks for your call. I appreciate the call. You always sound good, by the way. Appreciate that. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE.
Good audio.
Yeah, the radio guys, they're good at that.
Yeah.
855-450-3733. But you can have good audio, too, just by calling us on Skype. It's almost always better. Unless you've got a bad internet connection, then it's all jumpy. But if you've got a good connection, it's almost always better to have you on Skype because you sound almost like you're sitting in the studio with us when you're on Skype. So Skype username is LRN.FM. Security measures are being ramped up around Philadelphia convention site. Story being reported. Now, I'd heard that there were a lot of fences down in Cleveland as well, so this may not be that different from what happened in Cleveland. But the claim is that the Democratic National Committee has erected a 4-mile fence around its convention site at the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia.
That's a high level of dedication, a 4-mile fence.
Right. The fence appears to be about 8 feet tall, is intended to keep out any individuals with whom the Democratic Party leaders, delegates, and other liberal elites would rather not mingle. And I suspect that will be the Bernie Sanders supporters. Those are the people who are intending, as my understanding, to come out to Philly next week and make themselves known and make themselves heard during this convention, because they, and rightfully so, are livid about what has happened with their candidate. Mind you, I'm not a supporter of Bernie Sanders. I'm not a supporter of Hillary Clinton.
But I can see why people are upset. For one, I feel like Clinton's just a very status quo candidate, and a lot of people have lots of problems with her. Secondarily, it seems like the DNC from those emails was in collusion with the Clinton campaign.
Sure seems
That's
like
a real
it.
problem as far as I'm concerned. That they've taken a pledge to remain unbiased, and then they're biased, right?
Right. The boss of the DNC just resigned today, apparently. So literally just hours before the convention
I guess she thought it was serious.
Yeah, is scheduled to kick off. Well, right. She's resigning already, and we know that WikiLeaks has said that they've only released part 1 of the series of emails. So maybe she knows what is yet to come. Maybe there are even more revealing and more outrageous emails that have yet to be released by WikiLeaks. Anyway, they're erecting this huge fence around the site because I've heard there may be as many as 50,000 protesters up there in Philly next week, and it could get pretty contentious. Now, if you want to share your thoughts, you're welcome to join us here at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Why anybody would want to go up and spend time at a political convention like this, I don't really know, but I guess I do understand why, let's say, Ademo Freeman from Copblock would do it, because there are a lot of police, and the police are oppressing people's rights. So that seems like a good reason to go out and hit the streets. But to go out and protest because your candidate didn't win, or because you don't like the status quo in the party, look, these party rulers in the Democratic or the Republican Party, they're not going to go away. Just because Debbie Schultz, or whatever her name is, has resigned, it doesn't mean that the DNC's all of a sudden going to get cleaned up, that all of a sudden, people are going to start playing by the rules or whatever. Maybe they'll just be more careful with how they send their emails in the future.
You're just saying that the protest won't do any good. But, I mean, have you ever participated in a protest that you didn't think was going to do any good?
Sure, but I usually don't go much further than down the street to do that.
I can understand why people would go for the Democratic National Convention to express their upset. I support them out there.
I'm not saying I don't support them.
They're Americans. They have the right to protest. And the idea that you're going to line up what appear to be, for all intents and purposes, a bunch of stormtroopers along the road to bop people in the head, well, I think that's a problem.
No, I totally agree with you there. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. But how much money are you willing to spend to go and wave a sign outside of a place where you're not going to do anything to change it? Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Adam Kokesh has agreed to meet Bernie Sanders in any city in America on any day between now and the end of the year for a friendly debate on socialism versus voluntarism, in which Bernie can choose an objective moderator. To sweeten the deal, Roger Ver, a.k.a. Bitcoin Jesus, has offered that upon completion of a 3-hour debate in which both men have equal time, he will donate a total of $100,000 worth of Bitcoin to the charity of each man's choice, $50,000 apiece. Learn more at bernie.freetalklive.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darrell W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, July 24th, 2016. Silver is trading at $19.64 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,322 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $661. Antiwar.com reports a public protest by Afghanistan's Shiite Hazara minority in Kabul turned tragic on Saturday when the Islamic State launched a suicide bombing against the demonstration, killing at least 80 people and wounding at least 231 others. The Hazaras were protesting over the planned route of a power transmission line from Turkmenistan to Kabul, calling for it to be rerouted through a pair of provinces with large Shiite populations to ensure the electricity supply there. The government has argued this change in route would take years and cost millions of dollars more. The Islamic State was quick to claim credit for the attack, saying a pair of suicide bombers with explosive belts got into the crowd and detonated, causing huge casualties. The death toll is the single deadliest attack on the Shiite minority during the entire U.S. occupation. The Hazaras are often discriminated against and targeted for their beliefs, both in Afghanistan and Pakistan. Such attacks are usually small attacks of opportunity against pilgrim buses or the like. This attack was much larger because such a large crowd crowd was gathered. Indeed, throughout much of the war, the Hazara-dominated provinces in central Afghanistan were simply ignored by the Taliban, who mostly just worked around those regions. Though the Taliban persecuted the Hazaras when they were in power, they've appeared less desperate to target them directly during the insurgency than most smaller groups. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports Hillary Clinton formally unveiled her vice presidential pick, Virginia Senator Tim Kaine, at a rally in Florida on Saturday, calling him everything that Donald Trump and Mike Pence are not. Kaine quickly displayed what may turn out to be one of the biggest attributes on the campaign trail, his fluency in Spanish, delivering remarks in both Spanish and English at Florida International University in Miami, a school with 60% Hispanic student population. Kaine is Virginia's former governor and, prior to that, the mayor of Richmond. He made a point of highlighting his unblemished campaign win-loss record throughout his career, saying to Applause, "I've never lost an election. I don't mind powerful groups campaigning against me. It's just like an extra cup of coffee to me." Kaine acknowledged average Americans may not have heard of him before, but pledged he would work hard to convince voters he is worthy of being a heartbeat away from the presidency. Kaine is a married father of 3 with a son in the Marines who is about to deploy to Europe. He made a point of mentioning his son's military service as a means to attack Trump over comments he made recently about refusing to defend NATO allies if attacked by Russia. Clinton introduced Kaine at the rally, calling him ready to become president at a moment's notice. Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs offers premium publicity campaigns designed to facilitate an organization's adoption of Bitcoin as a payment system and to fully capitalize on that decision in their fundraising efforts. Bitcoin Not Bombs is fully committed to being the hub of the nonprofit sector of the Bitcoin economy, maximizing the potential cross-promotion of all our clients and commercial partners. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com. Reuters reports the Dallas Police Department, which was struggling to recruit officers, has seen a surge in job applications after the shooting this month that killed 5 officers and brought global attention to the Texas city. During the 12 days following the July 7th shooting, the department said it got 467 job applications, a 344% increase compared with the 136 in a similar period in June. Recently, the police department has had to cancel academy classes because there were not enough applicants. Potential officers in the North Texas region have often opted for departments in fast-growing cities surrounding Dallas, where starting pay is typically higher than in Dallas. Dallas Police Chief David Brown put out the call for new recruits at a news conference last week, where he spoke of the deaths of 5 officers and the actions of others to save lives at a rally that marked the deadliest day for U.S. law enforcement since September 11th, 2001. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
The Princeton Medical Institute has found that the most common deathbed regret, more than losing contact with family or spending too much time at the office, is never having sprayed a fire extinguisher all over the place.
Similar themes emerged in our interviews with dying patients. Some wished that they'd taken more risks. Others wished that they'd lived a life truer to their dreams. But almost every single person surveyed, regardless of their age or circumstance, said that their most significant regret was never having grabbed a fire extinguisher off a wall and blasted it around a room until it ran out of foam.
I've lived a good life. I was a nurse for 32 years. I have 3 beautiful children, but I've never smashed my elbow into a glass case, grabbed a fire extinguisher, and gone whoosh over everything.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up what you want. Coming up, since we talked about hookers in the first hour of the show, Mark, you've got a related story about sex workers and the anti-trafficking movement, how sex workers are apparently ignored, allegedly, by that movement. We'll investigate that here in a little bit. But we're talking about the Democratic National Convention, which is set to kick off tomorrow. They're putting up an 8-foot-high fence around the property that they claim is 4 miles in length to try to keep the unwashed Sanders supporters out, because the Bernie Sanders supporters are rightfully upset that their guy got screwed by a biased system. We discussed that in detail last night. But one of the things that I didn't really hear too much about, and maybe it's just because we were traveling, and so you and I were in San Francisco last week during the middle of the week, right at the same time as the Republican National Convention was going on. So even though we did see some of the headlines, the basic headlines that Trump got the nomination or whatever, I didn't really see very much about the protests, about the things that were going on outside of the convention. And to me, that's the most interesting part. I don't really care what these blathering politicians say inside the convention hall. That doesn't interest me at all. I know that politicians are going to lie. They're going to make promises that they're going to break. And so I have no reason to subject myself to any of that. But I am interested in knowing how the police are behaving with the protesters out front. Now, I sort of critique the idea of traveling a long distance to go to something like this. If I were in, Cleveland, then it'd be no big deal to go and attend something like this. But to travel from D.C. or some other place to go there seems like a lot of expense for very, very little return. Generally, the benefit of a protest, from my perspective as someone who has engaged in them, because you did ask me, and rightfully so, well, haven't you been to a bunch of ineffective protests? Of course. Almost every protest is ineffective as far as accomplishing its goal.
Mostly anything that's done sort of for political reasons is ineffective.
Right.
It's basically like water dripping on stone. You just got to kind of figure.
So the benefit to me of going to a protest is the networking aspect of it, the community aspect of it, to meet the people who are in agreement on that issue and get to know them and maybe work with them into the future. So, for instance, here in New Hampshire, there's a 420 celebration that happens yearly in Concord, where a number of Liberty people and not Liberty people, people that just want to see cannabis legalized, will show up and they'll smoke cannabis right there on the front steps of the State House, and you're going to meet new people.
And it's ineffective, right? Like, so far in New England, New Hampshire has the worst marijuana laws in the state.
Yeah,
so we
true.
can come to one of two conclusions. Either A, it's ineffective, or B, somehow it slows the machinations of the state to the point that, we're the slowest.
No, I don't think you could come to a conclusion.
You could come to that conclusion.
Well, it would be based on no real evidence.
Based on the evidence that New Hampshire is the worst state in
New
England.
Correlation is not causation.
It certainly isn't. No.
But what you can say is that it has been effective at prohibiting people or preventing people who are participating from getting arrested, because there has never been a single arrest at the Concord 420s. There were some arrests at the Keene 420 several years ago, but those stopped very quickly after the protesters went down to the police station and smoked pot right in the lobby of the police station. The cops did nothing about it. That was the last arrest we had. And so Concord has been entirely without incident. And to some extent, that is a success. If you break the law openly, these are bad laws. These are malum prohibitums. There's no victim, of course, to the so-called crime of possession of cannabis. If you break a law like that openly and the police do nothing about it, that's technically a win. Because if the police don't crack down and they have a law they're supposed to be enforcing, it makes them look like they're inconsistent. It makes them look like they are ignoring and not enforcing the law, which is what we want them to do. I don't want anybody to get arrested. I want them to leave us alone. So from that perspective, they've been successful. But as far as like overturning the war on drugs or the war on cannabis, obviously that's not going to happen from a protest.
I'm surprised they, every 420, you guys are out there smoking pot on the State House lawn.
Yep.
I'm surprised that they, at this point, it's going to happen. The police can get together a little squad and come in and arrest a bunch of people if they wanted to.
If they wanted to, and they don't. So that is a win from that perspective. But regardless, the idea of getting together and protesting what this essentially private organization is doing, the Democratic National Committee, the Republican National Committee, these, even though their conventions are funded by the government, and they shouldn't be, but even though they are funded by the government and by the state, they themselves are private organizations. So, protesting what the private organization is doing, you're certainly within your rights to do it, but your money would probably better be spent on supporting an alternative like the Green Party or the Libertarians or something else. And even then, that's still politics. It's still throwing money down a rat hole. But at the very least, you would be supporting something rather than opposing something.
I think a lot of people are still hoping that Sanders is going to get the nomination at the Democratic
Some sort
convention.
of last-minute,
right?
Strings get pulled or whatever.
I read an article today that apparently that some Republicans have told some prosecutor in D.C. that he needs to redouble his efforts in prosecuting Clinton in this circumstance. And if, for whatever reason, if she got the arrest that she deserves in this circumstance, I mean, she should be in jail right now because
For the email thing?
For the email thing. The rest of us would be. She destroyed emails. A variety of things occurred in there that would be considered illegal. And for whatever reason, they decided not to go after her. And
because she's a powerful politician.
That's the reason from what I can tell. Yeah. And if there was a hint that some prosecutor was going to go after that woman, then Sanders would likely get the nomination, and that's what they're hoping for. It's not the most unlikely circumstance, but it is unlikely.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would say it's pretty darn unlikely. I mean, the only thing that would be less likely would probably be that she suffers a heart attack or something like that.
Based on what? Just experience?
Yeah, this is the political system. These people are like ticks. They're dug in, and they are protected. And just because this top dog of the DNC has resigned doesn't...
A prosecutor could do something, though, right? A prosecutor could bring charges.
Well, they haven't already, and so there's no reason...
There's a lot of prosecutors.
Uh-huh. Yeah, but they were all following orders. They're all under the auspices of the U.S. attorney. And if the U.S. attorney says, leave this lady alone, the lower underlings aren't going to bring her up on charges.
You mean a lower underling like, I don't know, Edward Snowden? Sometimes some people will stand up, Ian. And
yeah, you're giving them too much credit. Don't get your hopes up.
Okay, I don't. My hopes are up.
Well, Bernie Sanders supporters, don't get your hopes up.
Nope. Bernie Sanders supporters.
The fix is in.
This is what it's like.
Yeah.
In 2008, in 2012, you probably didn't think about or you poo-pooed Ron Paul. You thought that we all were silly running around about our candidate. Well, we know what it's like. This is what it's like.
Yep, let's go to Sarah. She's in New Mexico, and you can bring up whatever you want here on Free Talk Live Sunday edition. Sarah, go ahead with your thoughts.
Yes, there is there's a reason why people are not afraid of auto fatalities. They hear stuff like, 4,800 people got killed last year, and it's like, well, so? And it's like, well, they're more concerned about people getting shot by police. And the reason is because our DNA has not been altered. Like, our ancestors have not been traumatized by auto fatalities. It's not in our genes. So
that's an interesting theory.
I think you might be right. So, I think America's love for the automobile, and this is probably true in other countries, is centered around freedom. We want the ability to travel where we want, when we want, and an automobile gives you that. And I do believe
as long as it's on the roads the government provides.
The small group primate that we call Homo sapiens has hardwired in it this love for liberty. So, yes, I would agree.
Well, actually, in the psychiatrist chairs, we're still more afraid of like spiders and snakes. That's what our ancestors died from and they got ill from. So it's in our DNA. Our DNA has been altered. Like, we're afraid of heights when we hear about airplane crashes, or we hear about starvation. We had starvation in all of our nationalities.
I would like to encourage people to not be afraid, because being afraid it's a killer. Fear's a killer. It's going to demotivate. It's going to stop people dead in their tracks from doing the things they need to do. If you're afraid to get in the car in the morning, you probably shouldn't be behind the wheel, because you might be, actually a danger because of your fear of the roads. Thank you, Sarah, for the call tonight. That doesn't mean you shouldn't be cautious and drive safely and drive defensively. There's a difference between caution and fear. This is Free Talk Live.
People who can afford a LASIK procedure sure are lucky. Imagine being able to throw away your contacts and glasses. Imagine waking up tomorrow with 20/20 vision. Too bad everyone can't afford LASIK. Well, guess what? There's a company that agrees with you. TLC Laser Eye Centers is now offering great prices on high-quality LASIK to make it affordable for everyone. That means you get the latest FDA-approved all-laser LASIK technology for less than what others charge. And if you call right now, we'll schedule a free appointment so you can discover if LASIK is right for you. Results may vary. Call 1-800-930-9765. Even better, if you're one of the first 100 callers, ask about an extra $400 off your all-laser LASIK procedure. That's $200 off per eye. We've already performed over 2 million procedures. Let us help you. Discover how you can get the quality LASIK experience you deserve for less than what others charge. For your free appointment, call 1-800-930-9765. 1-800-930-9765.
My computer is so slow, it's making me crazy.
I used to have that problem.
Did you quit using a computer, or did you buy a new one?
No, I called Geeks On Site. They made an appointment to visit my home and showed up the same day.
You mean they didn't ask you to bring your computer to a shop? That's what happened when I called a support company.
Geeks On Site can go to your home or business or even repair your computer online. They have 24/7 emergency service.
If you're having problems with your PC or Mac, call Geeks On Site, 1-800-591-1682. Our friendly certified computer repair experts are available 24/7. Call now for a free diagnosis, 1-800-591-1682. Data recovery, virus removal, and maintenance for all laptops, desktops, printers, and networks. That's Geeks On Site for friendly certified computer repair experts, available 24/7 over the phone or in your home or business. Just call 1-800-591-1682. That's 1-800-591-1682, 1-800-591-1682.
Is spreading the message of liberty and peace around the globe worth 15 cents per day to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. Last year, we did a fundraiser that successfully covered the costs of continuing our African channel. This year, we're hoping to raise enough to fund a new satellite signal that will cover Europe, North Africa, and much of the Middle East. You can donate as much or as little as you like via the Indiegogo campaign at fund.lrn.fm. And there are perks available like sitting in on your favorite LRN.FM show, exclusive shiny badges, or even naming a satellite channel. Please contribute now at fund.lrn.fm and help us continue our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. The fundraiser ends August 19th, so please visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. That's fund.lrn.fm.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Juicy Juice, 100% juice, providing a full serving of fruit in every 4 ounces. Visit us at juicyjuice.com. When it comes to nutrition, kids need both fruits and vegetables every day to stay healthy and grow. For the ideal mix, your kid should have at least 1.5 cups of any veggie or 100% veggie juice, and 1 cup of any fruit or 100% fruit juice a day. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. With you in studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And tonight, when you go to bed, think about the position of your head and neck. Because in a lot of cases, chronic headaches, neck, and even back pain can be solved with the right pillow. Your spine should be straight and parallel to the floor, and My Pillow will help you accomplish that. I've been using My Pillow. Mark, you have as
I love mine.
well. Daryl, Renee, We've all been using MyPillow, and it's been great. I was so looking forward to my first night back from San Francisco because I didn't have MyPillow at the hotel that we went to, and I hate hotel pillows, and the MyPillow is so much better. I don't care what the fluffiness of those hotel pillows is. They're just always awful.
Yeah, it just doesn't fit quite right. My Pillow's designed to fit to the shape of your head.
That's right.
If you follow the instructions on it when you get it and you put it in the dryer and fluff it up, it'll fit your head great. And I think most importantly, you can wash it.
Yep, you certainly can, and it's a great pillow. I highly recommend it. You can go to mypillow.com, and you know what? We say a lot of nice things about MyPillow, but there's a 60-day money-back guarantee on the thing. So if you don't agree with us that this is the best pillow that you've used, then go ahead, send it back. Get your money back. Because you've got no risk here, basically. It's mypillow.com. Use code FTL when you order. You get a second pillow free or one pillow for half off. Up to you. Mypillow.com, code FTL. And again, there's not only a 60-day money-back guarantee, there's also a 10-year warranty on the product itself. So great stuff. Highly recommended. Code FTL to get the discount at mypillow.com. So we were continuing here. Actually, the story that we haven't gotten into is about the Republican National Convention, because I was wondering aloud, what was going on the outside of the convention? To me, the most uninteresting part of these conventions is what actually happens inside. I could not imagine being inside one of these things. It would be so boring. It's the stuff that happens tangentially to it, the stuff that
Jason
happens
Osborne
outside.
went, and I got a chance to sort of watch the inside goings-on from his point of view.
Oh, yeah. Jason is a former sponsor of the show, and I saw some of his posts on Facebook. He seemed to be excruciatingly hard to be at this convention. So anyway, what's going on outside? What's happening in the hallways? What's happening outside the convention center? What is happening, in the nearby surrounding area with police and how they're behaving towards counter-protesters and protesters. Of course, there was an entertaining video where Alex Jones actually crashes the set of the Young Turks. And did you see that, Mark?
I saw the promo for it, but I didn't watch it.
I watched it. It was pretty ridiculous. And Alex Jones, for those that don't know, a fairly popular kind of conspiracy talk show host. And then the Young Turks.
He's really successful.
Yeah, he is. And then the Young Turks, also very successful. They have a YouTube channel. They used to be on the radio. They no longer are, but they sort of spun their radio show off into a very, very popular YouTube channel. So, again, two relatively popular hosts with differing political viewpoints. Jones shows up on the set, and I presume this was happening in the convention center outside of the main area, because it looked like the Young Turks were just sitting on some couches out in like the hotel lobby or something like that, or the convention lobby. I imagine a group like the Young Turks probably wasn't very welcome to have media passes at the Republican National Convention. But,
no, they seem, like the least welcomed sort.
Jones literally barges onto the set. I mean, imagine having, Alex Jones force his way into the Free Talk Live studios.
I got a chair open
and start shouting in the in the background.
Have a seat, Alex.
Right? Yeah. I mean, we would handle it, and we'd have a conversation. But Alex wasn't in the mood to have a seat. Nor was a seat made for him in that particular case. And I got to say, while it was entertaining, it was certainly rude of Jones to do that. But Jones said that he was invited there by one of the Young Turks producers. So who knows what the real story was behind that? Was it a setup, or was Alex Jones just crashing the party in the way that it sort of looked like it was?
Hard to say.
So that's one of the things that went on. But what about the police state outside of the convention center in Cleveland? Well, I know we got a call on Monday from Ademo, Freeman from Copblock.org, and it's my understanding that he'd also called the show during the week, but you and I weren't here, Mark, so we didn't actually encounter those calls. So I'm not sure what else transpired. If you want to share your thoughts and observations, you can join us here toll free at 855-450-FREE. But here's a story from Derek Brose over at mintpressnews.com. Despite months of media coverage promising some of the most violent and chaotic protests at the Republican National Convention, the political circus came and went with very little fanfare. The number of protesters were drastically lower than the numbers put forth by the organizers and the Deadstream media. Aside from a few arrests for the legal act of burning the American flag, there was not much dramatics, and in reality, the $50 million security grant used to increase security around the city of Cleveland was largely wasted. The majority of the cops were left standing around wondering why the heck they were following around a handful of mostly peaceful protesters. However, there was one incident involving federal and local law enforcement blatantly violating the rights of activists who were in town for the Republican National Convention. On Wednesday morning, activists, some whom claim association with Anonymous or identify as anarchists, had guns pulled on them before they were forced out of their beds and into the streets to be questioned by agents of the federal government.
Wasn't it 4 years ago that they went after some people who, they've done a few of these sort of no-knock raid things where they just grab some folks?
Yep, this has happened. Something similar to this has happened in the past. Basically an intimidation campaign against activists who have come to the area. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Department of Homeland Security, and El Raya Police, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, El Raya Police, are illegally entered the home of a local resident who was hosting visiting out-of-town activists. Cleveland.com reported, quote, FBI spokeswoman Vicki Anderson said law enforcement went to the house Wednesday morning because those inside were suspected of causing issues this week in Public Square in downtown Cleveland. Namely, agents believe the group threw bottles of urine at police officers, Anderson said. A spokesman for
Not gonna like that.
El Raya Police also confirmed that its officers joined the FBI at the Lake Avenue house shortly after 7:40 in the morning and did not have any further details. Anderson told Cleveland.com that the officers did not put guns in the protesters' faces and did not enter the house. However, the statement is contradicted by two videos captured by activist Rob Weber, who was inside the house at the time of the raid.
It looks really bad when, the police say this or that didn't happen, and then you've got video that's saying it does.
The videos clearly show a police officer yelling at one of the protesters, "Get out of bed! I'm not going to tell you again, or I'm going to come get you out of bed. Come on! You know what's going on. Get out here!"
She probably didn't have any clothes on.
The officers take the protesters outside of the house before questioning them about whether or not they had thrown bottles of urine and feces at police officers the day before.
How do you get it in there?
Into the bottle?
Yeah, the feces.
A funnel. Oh, feces? That would be a little more difficult.
Yeah. Yuck.
Anyway, the Ohio NLG condemns warrantless raids without consent as unlawful police conduct, says the National Lawyers Guild. Activist Post spoke with activist Brittany Ohm about her experience being woken up by the FBI with a gun in her face. She said, quote, "It was 8-ish a.m. and they didn't knock. One officer came in with his gun already drawn and went back to our bedroom by himself to get us. They didn't ask any questions except if we knew some people, and they read off names, but we didn't know any of them. They then said they'd been watching us for a few days, and if we didn't want to see them again, that we'll stay away from the RNC." 855-450-FREE is the toll-free number. You can join us here and share your thoughts. Police raid with no warrant? Guns in people's faces? What do you think? It's Free Talk Live.
Are your Google search results killing you? Unflattering content in blogs, news articles, online reviews, social media, or other sources can jeopardize your reputation, your business, and your livelihood. Let Reputation.com help. Our patented technology will make the truth about you more visible while pushing down unwanted negative content. Improve your Google search results. Call Reputation.com at 1-800-831-0771 for a free consultation. That's 800-831-0771.
Worried about lead, fluoride, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Get a ProPure with the Pro 1G 2.0 cleanable reusable filter and remove up to 200 contaminants. Drink water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure products, including the new ProMax shower filter. There's a ProPure for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
FoodForLiberty.com sells high-quality, storable foods from Numana. And right now, take advantage of our summer special. Purchase 2 family packs and we'll send you a Pro Pure Water Pitcher, a $70 value, free. This premium pitcher is ideal for use with just about any water source and removes more contaminants than other brands. And it comes with a filter that lasts up to 2 full years. Whether you need to be prepared in the event of an emergency, you're an outdoor sports enthusiast, foods. New Manna is known for high-quality, great-tasting, GMO-free, super nutritious food with no chemical preservatives. And with a 25-year shelf life, you can't beat the feeling of being food secure when you need it most. Go to foodforliberty.com right now for great-tasting, high-quality, storable foods from New Manna. Buy 2 family packs and get the Pro Pure water pitcher free. It makes good sense to be prepared. Get it at foodforliberty.com.
Are you a political activist who does things that the government might not like? Then this free ebook may save your life. Rats is your guide to protecting yourself against snitches, informers, informants, agents provocateur, narcs, finks, and similar vermin. Rats was written by OG libertarian Claire Wolfe. Rats is a short book, easy to read, and available free in many formats. Download Rats free at rats-nosnitch.com. That's rats-nosnitch.com.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live shows 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website, fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper, FPP News, at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever's on your mind. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. With you in studio tonight, you've got Ian.
And Mark.
And don't forget, you can join us online. Just head on over to freetalklive.com and enjoy the features that we share with you on our website. You can actually get interactive. The front page of the site is a Reddit-based site. The Reddit-based page. The rest of our site's got all kinds of content on it that has nothing to do with Reddit. But if you want to, you can submit content right to the front page and vote on what other people have submitted. So if you like something, you can vote it up. If you don't like something, you can ignore it or you can vote it down. It is up to you. So go and get interactive over at freetalklive.com. We were talking about an outrageous story coming out of Cleveland from last week, where activists who were visiting town they were staying at somebody's house as guests. The police showed up allegedly at about 8 in the morning and literally woke them up with guns being pointed at them. How they gained access to the home, I'm not really clear on that. But they were not welcome there, and they did not appear to have any kind of warrant or anything like that. So basically a warrantless, no-knock search, a raid on activists during the Republican National Convention. According to Derek Brose over at mintpressnews.com, it was really kind of the only newsworthy thing about what the police were doing there, because there just weren't that many protesters. There wasn't a whole lot of ruckus. According to Derek, outside of the convention, we know Ademo Freeman from Copblock.org was temporarily detained on Monday for chalking, but we didn't really hear very much else, or at least I have yet to hear much else about what went down. Now, the Democratic National Convention scheduled for next week,
and that might have some action.
May very well have some action, because in that case, you're dealing with the Bernie Sanders supporters who are not strangers to getting into the streets. I mean,
They're also not happy.
Right, and they're not happy. You didn't think the Ted Cruz supporters were going to be in the streets at the Republican National Convention. So, no, I mean, I didn't really expect there was going to be a whole lot going on as far as the Republicans versus the Republicans. Anything like that would have happened inside the convention hall.
There's a lot of people that don't like the Republicans, so they might
those people could have showed up, but apparently not very many of them did. And so, anyway, I think it's an interesting story. It's outrageous. There's video of the raid, and it shows that the police are absolutely using their guns. The cops had claimed to the mainstream media that they did not pull their guns, and that was a lie. And so this just, once again, goes to show that video is the best tool that the activists can have. It is truly the new gun, which is what I believe Judge Napolitano, Andrew Napolitano, called it a few years ago when he used to have his Fox News show, that the video camera is the new gun. It's better than a gun because the gun, you just escalate the conflict. The gun results, you draw a gun on the cops and or shoot a cop, you're going to end up dead very quickly.
It's a very bad situation.
They're then going to use that situation as an excuse to come after your buddies, to amp up the police state, to get more weapons, to get more armor, to become more militaristic. So doing like the police and using guns back against the police is only going to make things worse. In fact, I think it was Daryl who was telling me this, and maybe he'll have this story for our Monday night show. But the big claim, Mark, apparently is, from the people that support using violence back against the police, the people that support killing them, for instance.
That's bad. Yeah.
It's a bad idea. But their big claim is that, if enough cops get killed, that will mean that fewer people will want to become cops.
Yeah, but actually in Dallas, I believe that the recruiting numbers are up.
Exactly. And maybe it was you that was telling me that. But, that was what the headline that I'd seen is that actually immediately after the shootings in Dallas, there was a jump in police recruiting. So actually the evidence suggests that there are people who want to go into that fray. And they're likely more violent than your average cop. They're likely looking for a fight. And they want to, then they know they're going to have the side of the state and the police on their side. If they crack some heads of some activists, all the other cops are going to look the other way.
Well, yeah, that's what it sounds like.
So, anyway, using the camera is the most important tool that you have. And thank goodness they were able to get the videos out of this particular raid. I don't know if they were streaming them or just recording them, but regardless, I highly recommend streaming video. In any situation like this. In fact, this is one thing that we did.
Because they can take the camera from you and then
delete the footage.
Delete it, yeah.
Now, there are ways
break your camera or whatever.
Correct. There are ways to undelete footage if it's recorded and deleted, but you got to take certain precautions. You have to not continue to use that device before you run the undelete program, because the more that you put on that flash card, the more likely it's going to overwrite the deleted files, because normally when you delete a file, it just marks a little tick box or whatever in the file system that says, this is deleted, which allows the file system to overwrite it at some point in the future. But immediately, it's still there. So if you ever do have the police delete one of your videos, do not use that device until you're ready, until you can pop the SD card out and then run an undelete program on it. You might be able to recover them.
Yep.
But if you're using something like Cell 411, then you'll be able to stream live what's happening to the internet. Your friends will be able to see it happen. And I've been excited about Cell 411 for a while, ever since it hit, I think, last year now. It's been around for about a year, I think.
Yeah.
Ever since it came out, it's actually one of our listeners, Virgil Viduva from Ohio, who is programming it. He's the brains behind the operation. It was great initially because it was a way of notifying your friends. You can have these cells with different members in it. You can send out a notification to that cell letting them know, hey, I'm being attacked by the police, or
whatever.
Or my car is broken down, or there's a fire, or somebody's just had a health emergency or something.
That's what I love about it, is it can be used for just about anything.
It's super useful. And he added in relatively quickly a video streaming option, which now is getting even better, because at first I was like, do I really want to use Cell 411 to stream, or do I want to use this old service that I've used called Bambuser? Because I've been a fan of Bambuser for a long time. And I think at this point, Cell 411 has eclipsed Bambuser, because now Cell 411 not only can stream to your friends in your cell on Cell 411, but it can also stream out to your Facebook account, which is a game changer for Cell 411 because
huge distribution.
Right, because not everybody is going to want to download Cell 411, even though you should, because it's free, so there's no reason not to at getcell411.com or your favorite app store. So there's no reason not to have this, but not everybody's going to do it. But for people who are on Facebook, who are your friends who aren't willing to download Cell 411, you hook up Facebook integration with Cell 411, you start streaming video. Well, guess what? It's going to post a notice to your Facebook page now saying, hey, I'm streaming live right now on Cell 411. And
that's going to get everybody's attention.
It'll at least get more attention than it would just to your Cell 411 network. So I'm super excited about that. We haven't really tested. I haven't tested that feature yet, but it just literally came out in the most recent update of Cell 411. So very, very excited about that. I'm going to replace Bambuser with Cell 411. So this is like the all-in-one activist tool app as far as I'm concerned. There's nothing out there that it is even coming close to competing with Cell 411 these days. So
it's high praise.
Yeah, getcell411.com. It's going to help you out in a variety of different circumstances. And one of the coolest things about Cell 411 is the public cells. So something we're going to do this year here in Keene, we normally do cop block outreach where we'll inform the new college students coming in of their rights and how to handle police situations.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to have some Cell 411 flyers printed up that Virgil had originally designed. We're actually going to have Johnson, one of our co-hosts, redesign them and make them look really nice because Johnson's like a professional graphics designer. And it basically says, hey, there's this thing that can help keep you safe, and here's our neighborhood's name, and you can download the program and put the neighborhood's name in there, and then everybody can join this public cell and then send out notices to people who you don't even know that might be in the area who might be willing to come and assist. So very, very cool. We're going to do some sort of ground level grassroots activist outreach to promote Cell 411 this year for the very first time. So I think that could really take off.
Yeah, we'll certainly do something for the Keene area.
Exactly. And there are people setting up these cells all over the place. So if you want to join us, you can get on the phones here, bring up whatever's on your mind. Coming up, Mark, you're going to be telling us about the anti-trafficking movement. Now, we're talking about sex trafficking, right?
Right.
Well, apparently,
human trafficking, yes.
What the story you've got says that the anti-trafficking movement is ignoring the voices of sex workers. That's the headline. I don't know what that means, but we're going to find out more about it coming up here in moments. And you can join us at 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live's Live Sunday show.
Are you searching for your soulmate? Someone you can trust, who will never betray you? Or cooperate with the NSA? Stop searching. With EasyDNS, you found a keeper. EasyDNS does it all. Domain names, web hosting, and managed WordPress hosting. EasyDNS stands up for your internet freedom. And with servers in Canada, they do not cooperate with the NSA. Go to EasyDNS.com. You'll love their services or get a full refund. They guarantee it. And they accept Bitcoin. That's EasyDNS.com.
Adam Kokesh has agreed to meet Bernie Sanders in any city in America on any day between now and the end of the year for a friendly debate on socialism versus voluntarism, in which Bernie can choose an objective moderator. To sweeten the deal, Roger Ver, a.k.a. Bitcoin Jesus, has offered that upon completion of a 3-hour debate in which both men have equal time, he will donate a total of $100,000 worth of Bitcoin to the charity of each man's choice, $50,000 apiece. Learn more at bernie.freetalklive.com.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of
where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu 641-793-9660.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Wednesday, gold is $18 lower at $1,317 per ounce. Silver is 40 cents lower at $19.50 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $670 US. Talk of a possible Fed rate hike later this year has silver and gold down sharply, making it a great time to buy on the dip. For more information, give us a call at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can join us on the radio. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We got a satellite fundraiser going on right now. About a month remains, actually a little less than a month at this point, in the 2016 LRN.FM satellite fundraiser. It helps us raise the money to continue funding our existing 2 satellite channels that we have. We've got one channel that is broadcast free to air over North and Central America, and another one that is broadcast free to air over the sub-Saharan Africa. So a good chunk, most of probably the African continent, and almost all of the North American and Central America.
Free-to-air satellite is a sort of satellite that people who can't pay money for can listen to or watch.
That's correct. It's just like the old over-the-air television systems, except via satellite instead of broadcast transmission. Anyway, you can support the fundraiser by going to fund.lrn.fm. It's an Indiegogo-based fundraiser, so there are some perks that you can get access to there for contributing. But even if all you got's $5 to throw in, we appreciate it. Please send along what you want. If you value what we do here, if you value us spreading the message of liberty and peace all around the globe, not just to the United States. We got over 170 radio stations carrying the show in the United States. We've got internet streaming.
We've got pretty good distribution in the U.S.
Yeah, anybody who wants to can hear Free Talk Live in the United States via the internet. But there are some countries in the world where internet just barely even exists, if at all. And those people, I think, should have access to the ideas of liberty, too. And the Free Talk Live and LRN.FM satellite channel helps us accomplish that. And you can contribute over at fund.lrn.fm. Please do. It's fund.lrn.fm. As we continue here, Mark, you were going to tell us about the story from where? What's the source on this? About trafficking, human trafficking.
Pathos.com.
Okay.
And it's written by Benjamin L. Corey. When I was part way through my doctoral work that included conducting extensive field-based research in the world of human trafficking, I had a small crisis. What I was learning and discovering did not line up with what I believed going into the study. I had a few experiences previously that initially triggered me to reconsider the trafficking narrative I had begun with. The first one was while riding in a taxi down the streets of Mumbai, when a colleague told me she was sore from getting beat up during a rescue at a brothel the previous evening. "Who beat you up?" I said. "The traffickers? The police?" She responded, "No, the woman beat me up because she didn't want me to rescue her. At some point, she'll thank me, though."
Wow.
I still remember the tilt of my head and the squint of my eyes as I realized this sounded really screwed up. This was my first big moment of realizing something was amiss in the movement, but I had other experiences as well. Another was when I was interviewing sex workers at brothels on the outskirts of the city. Each had a complex story full of nuance, individual circumstances, and choices. As I decompressed the interviews with a colleague, I caught myself saying that I needed to find a way to redefine trafficking, since none of the current sex workers we interviewed met the legal criteria of force, fraud, or coercion, or even wanted to leave the brothel when asked what it would take for them to leave. They had complex, often sad stories, but they were not trafficking victims, as I had assumed.
I want to hear more about the story. I had mentioned we were hopefully going to hear from Ademo Freeman tonight, the one of the founders of Copblock.org, and he is now on the line with us via Skype, I believe in Ohio. Ademo, are you with us?
I am here. Thanks a lot. And yeah, sorry about the delay. I just got carried away in some video editing.
Oh, it's easy to lose hours and hours doing video editing. I totally understand. Thank you for calling and sharing with us. Now, as you know, Ademo, just to recap for our listeners, we talked to you on Monday before you left, or before we left, actually, Mark and I, to go to San Francisco. So I heard that you might have called at other points during the week, but I'm not familiar with basically what else went down after you got detained for the chalking. But the story we just read from Derek Bros about I guess a warrantless raid, no-knock raid on some of the activists that had come to town in Cleveland last week, he said there really wasn't much else besides that that was going on in the streets as far as anything particularly noteworthy. I did see some video that you posted with you arguing with some people who support the police who are erasing your chalkings. But, what else, what other highlights, I guess, occurred or lowlights, however you want to look at it, over the last week?
I would agree with some of Derek's assessment that overall, it was a very peaceful event for the most part. I feel we did have some additional attention because, we were rolling 5 to 8 deep sometimes and doing our usual chalking. And so not only did we get addressed for that, the chalking, but myself and Josh Hawkins, another of the Copblock Network contributors, had our backpacks actually stolen by the police.
When did that happen?
How'd they do that?
Well, that was on, I believe it was Wednesday night. Yes, it was Wednesday night. And we were just stopping because we had been chalking all around the square and up the street to the convention. So we stopped for a snack out of our backpacks and a bottle of water. And like 3 minutes into it, about 5 or 6 cops walked up and said we had rocks in our backpacks. And we're like, rocks? That's ridiculous. We're like, we didn't know rocks were illegal. And we like joked and thought they were just like messing with us. And then they were like, well, can we search your bags? And we're like, we don't consent to searches. And that's when we started whipping on the video cameras.
Right.
And so this is all on video, copblock.org/RNC 2016. Mm-hmm. And the officers became more officers, so about a dozen at this time, and a white shirt who then ordered them to search our bags regardless of consent and then to confiscate them because they are illegal. Now, if you remember,
illegal backpacks?
They were illegal in the event zone. Now, mind you, I'm about 150 yards from where I was detained on Monday, and is the exact same backpack that, if you recognize in the video I live streamed from the back of the cop car, that they asked about the size, and then they gave it back to me. You didn't hear the conclusion for certain. One guy asked about the size of the backpack, but you can assume that it wasn't illegal in the event zone,
right?
Because they gave it back to me. But now, fast forward to Wednesday, this officer says it is illegal and they're going to take it. And they take our bags and they start to walk away. And then they come back and say, you want the stuff in it, and give us all the stuff back and literally dump it out on the street, including some tech gear and stuff, and leave us with all the bags. And so it's my conclusion. I haven't been able to check into it yet because it's the weekend. On Monday, I plan to call the Cleveland Police Department. They gave us no receipts. The lieutenant quickly gave us his name and then would only refer to himself as a lieutenant. It's Bappelbon, as I know now after reviewing the footage. And it turns out he's cost the city a multi-million-dollar lawsuit and a wrongful death on a woman and a dog. And
this was the guy that I saw the video of one of the videos you posted. This was in the video where the police supporters are removing your chalkings, you're pointing out the white-shirted cop and saying, hey, this guy actually killed somebody or shot a dog.
Yes, and that video that you're referencing is a day later. It's the final day. But yes, he's the same guy from the night before that took our backpacks. And it's my belief that they gave the tech gear back because they weren't sure if it would record and or track them or its value. And that since they never gave us a receipt, they never had any intention. Those backpacks are in a dumpster around the corner.
Yep.
You know, I hope on Monday that they are there, because I would appreciate my property back, of course.
Sure.
But I'm not suspecting. And we later did interview the deputy chief, second in command, and he stated that no backpacks had been confiscated. He's like, what are you talking about? In the exact spot where they were confiscated from. And so that.
Well, you've got video of it happening.
They weren't
right?
confiscated. They were stolen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I said, that's stealing. He's like, well, we call it confiscation.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, well, thank you. We know that you guys have a play on words.
But even if, if they don't write the paperwork up, it's not confiscation.
That's
yes,
true.
Then it's theft.
Right. Then it's just flat out theft. And I don't care what uniform you're wearing. And this is one of the things that sort of the people that, want to make excuses for police that that they sort of overlook is that this was theft under the color of law, if what everything you say is true. And obviously you're a terrible cop blocker, so you're just full of lies.
And even if you're one of the cop suckers, you have to believe that it's still harassment, because we were going around chalking, and even if the backpacks are there on Monday and they do give them back, they still were doing this to harass us.
Absolutely.
Nobody else got their backpack searched. 8 people in the video that I've watched now walk by with backpacks larger than ours.
Sure.
So maybe they had credentials, whatever, but it was purely, I believe, their first intention was to stop us from chalking. They thought that we'd have to throw some of the stuff out or limit or leave because we have to carry all this stuff.
Right.
Of course, we improvise because we're activists. That's what we do. And we continued on our merry way.
One of the big things that people will say is if you poke a bear with a stick, you're liable to get mauled, right? But we don't hire bears to do police work. These are thinking human beings, and they're responsible for their actions.
Ademo,
They'll certainly hold you responsible for yours.
I know you've got video to edit, but do you want to stick around and talk more about what happened?
I most certainly do.
All right, Ademo Freeman is with us from Copblock.org. We'll continue with him in hour number 3, and if you've got questions or you want to jump on here, you can join us. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE.
For Bitcoin to be ubiquitous, people need to use it. For people to use it, they must have it. How can we get Bitcoin into more hands? Well, tipping might be a great way. What if you could include a bonus Bitcoin tip along with your regular tip to a server? What if that Bitcoin returned to you if unclaimed after 30 days? An attractive business card-sized Bitcoin tip that is easily claimed, gives instructions on wallets, spending, and returns to the user if unused? Tip.freetalklive.com. Tip.freetalklive.com.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more.
It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
If you want to move to the free state and you're looking for some real estate.
Oof, I think we've all had enough of that jingle, don't you? If you're going to invest in property in New Hampshire, it just makes sense to support a Liberty-friendly realtor. Call Mark Warden of Team Porcupine Real Estate for investment property or rentals in the Free State. Or visit his website. Come on, you know it.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are 1. Share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, July 24th, 2016. Silver is trading at $19.64 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,322 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $661. Antiwar.com reports a public protest by Afghanistan's Shiite Hazara minority in Kabul turned tragic on Saturday when the Islamic State launched a suicide bombing against the demonstration, killing at least 80 people and wounding at least 231 others. The Hazaras were protesting over the planned route of a power transmission line from Turkmenistan to Kabul, calling for it to be rerouted through a pair of provinces with large Shiite populations to ensure the electricity supply there. The government has argued this change in route would take years and cost millions of dollars more. The Islamic State was quick to claim credit for the attack, saying a pair of suicide bombers with explosive belts got into the crowd and detonated, causing huge casualties. The death toll is the single deadliest attack on the Shiite minority during the entire U.S. occupation. The Hazaras are often discriminated against and targeted for their beliefs, both in Afghanistan and Pakistan. Such attacks are usually small attacks of opportunity against pilgrim buses or the like. This attack was much larger because such a large crowd was gathered. Indeed, throughout much of the war, the Hazara-dominated provinces in central Afghanistan were simply ignored by the Taliban, who mostly just worked around those regions. Though the Taliban persecuted the Hazaras when they were in power, they've appeared less desperate to target them directly during the insurgency than most smaller groups. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports Hillary Clinton formally unveiled her vice presidential pick, Virginia Senator Tim Kaine, at a rally in Florida on Saturday, calling him everything that Donald Trump and Mike Pence are not. Kaine quickly displayed what may turn out to be one of the biggest attributes on the campaign trail, his fluency in Spanish, delivering remarks in both Spanish and English at Florida International University in Miami, a school with 60% Hispanic student population. Kaine is Virginia's former governor and, prior to that, the mayor of Richmond. He made a point of highlighting his unblemished campaign win-loss record throughout his career, saying to Applause, "I've never lost an election. I don't mind powerful groups campaigning against me. It's just like an extra cup of coffee to me." Kaine acknowledged average Americans may not have heard of him before, but pledged he would work hard to convince voters he is worthy of being a heartbeat away from the presidency. Kaine is a married father of 3 with a son in the Marines who is about to deploy to Europe. He made a point of mentioning his son's military service as a means to attack Trump over comments he made recently about refusing to defend NATO allies if attacked by Russia. Clinton introduced Kaine at the rally, calling him ready to become president at a moment's notice. Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs offers premium publicity campaigns designed to facilitate an organization's adoption of Bitcoin as a payment system and to fully capitalize on that decision in their fundraising efforts. Bitcoin Not Bombs is fully committed to being the hub of the nonprofit sector of the Bitcoin economy, maximizing the potential cross-promotion of all our clients and commercial partners. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com. Reuters reports the Dallas Police Department, which was struggling to recruit officers, has seen a surge in job applications after the shooting this month that killed 5 officers and brought global attention to the Texas city. During the 12 days following the July 7th shooting, the department said it got 467 job applications, a 344% increase compared with the 136 in a similar period in June. Recently, the police department has had to cancel academy classes because there were not enough applicants. Potential officers in the North Texas region have often opted for departments in fast-growing cities surrounding Dallas, where starting pay is typically higher than in Dallas. Dallas Police Chief David Brown put out the call for new recruits at a news conference last week, where he spoke of the deaths of 5 officers and the actions of others to save lives at a rally that marked the deadliest day for U.S. law enforcement since September 11th, 2001. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
This is the Onion Week in Review. A study published Friday by the University of Minnesota found that mosquitoes have no physiological reason for biting humans, with researchers noting that the insects feed exclusively on pollen and seemingly only suck human blood out of spite.
According to our findings, mosquitoes usually spit out the blood after a bite. They just really enjoy ruining outdoor activities and spreading deadly diseases.
Researchers added that mosquitoes often bite a variety of vertebrates besides humans, including baby pandas, koala bears, and very small puppies, all for fun. And in tech news, a new Visa talking credit card urges buyers to go for it.
Come on, buy it. You know you want it.
In other news, the utterance of a secret password grants customers access to a long-rumored 18-inch Subway sandwich. It's easy to tell what an area man would look like as a skeleton, and a longtime teacher retires without changing a single student's life. This week's scheduled interview with the surly and forlorn Matthew Modine was cut for time and is doomed to never be seen. For more, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
This is Free Talk Live. We're launching into the third hour of the program, the live Sunday edition of the show. As always, you can join us here. We're talking about the police state outside of the Cleveland Republican National Convention that happened last week. And apparently it was, while it was a police state, there really wasn't much for the police to respond to, with the exception of some dastardly cop blockers who were out there chalking up the place. We've got Ademo Freeman with us here from Copblock.org. Ademo, thanks for taking some time out from cranking on some video editing here tonight. What video are you putting together so you can maybe tease our listeners a little bit?
Well, the one we're mentioning right now, because even though it was live streamed, there's three angles, and I'd like to put a little more polish editing into the interaction. So
this is the one where they steal your backpacks, you and your friends, the other cop blockers, for basically because you're who you are and no other reason.
Yeah, I mean, they had been tailing us around. The scanner was full of people are chalking here, people are chalking there, and whoever they're referring back to is telling them it's okay, we know, multiple times, and then shortly thereafter, within an hour, were interacted with due to an accusation of possessing rocks, which turns into we want to search, to which we refuse, to our bags being confiscated, and just the bags, all the items dumped out. Bags.
Right. Had you been walking around with a I Love Cops t-shirt on, your bag would not have been molested.
And right. I think that, but I'd like to, in defense of the police, I believe chalk is from a rock.
Oh, true. I guess so. They might have been on point for that.
Your powdered rocks.
Really light rocks.
Yes. They stole our stuff nevertheless. But another video that I'm more interested in working on is later, as you also referenced before the break, there was a time where two of my companions, one Kelly Patterson, editor of Copblock.org and founder of Nevada Copblock, was chalking with another person from Minnesota Copblock, Melissa, and then a bunch of men came up and poured water over these disarm the police are the world's largest gang chalk slogans and stepping them out, and it was literally like 6 to 8 grown men. As it turns out, one of these individuals, kind of like the semi-ringleader of this, who kept coming back with water, is Joe Biggs, who was a reporter for InfoWars. And it's kind of funny because he's in a video standing where Alex Jones is talking, saying that these people are trying to squash his speech. And there's Joe Biggs, the guy he pays behind him, who was acting like a child. Now, I don't mind that he dumped water on the sidewalk and covered them up. Like, that's fine. But then not to have a conversation when engaged about it. He resorted to childish acts like, what job do you have, and other things, and some of his buddies. And so that's another thing I'm working on. So the live stream version is up on the Copblock Facebook page as well as the YouTube channel.
So somebody in radio actually asked somebody if they have a real job. I mean,
exactly.
In radio, for God's sakes, they don't have a real job.
I don't think Joe himself asked that. One of his colleagues did, but he was saying some of the other usual stuff like, then they wrote "I support blue" on chalk, and they tried to stand around it to keep anybody else from dumping water on it. Just real childish stuff.
Yeah,
he's sitting here talking about, wanting to have free speech, and the elite communists are trying to take their rights and their speech back while he's doing this stuff on the side. And so it's just ridiculous. And as well as
the Alex Jones show has really jumped the shark, I think, in the last year, ever since he started to embrace Donald Trump, and now
that was the most reoccurring thing I heard. It was that many of the individuals I talked to, if they were there for the InfoWars banner, they were very displeased with the message and the actions of Alex Jones and some of the, interworkings there. I talked to one gentleman for almost an hour who just was literally felt betrayed. Like he was distraught. And so
Alex Jones made videos a decade and a half ago called Police State. He had like 5 of them or something, at least 3 of them, Police State 1, 2, and 3. And Alex Jones, I think, helped shape to some extent some of my views about the police when I was younger, and he was always great about reporting on the police state and the rise of that concept.
The
and
Donald Trump campaign has done a lot of things to undermine a lot of liberty broadcasters.
I would never really call Alex Jones a liberty broadcaster, but at the very least, he was right on the police state for a long time. Now, apparently, one of his employees is over there removing critical chalkings of the police. It's ridiculous.
And on top of it, not formulating real opinions on the matter when faced with, logical arguments. But as well as to go back on Alex Jones, I would agree with you, too, that I watched some of his videos wanting to aspire to be him until I met some of the more, yourself, Ian, Sam Dotson and stuff like that. But now to see him being let out of this event surrounded by cops, and then his supporters and his staff going around thanking them, as they're complaining about this world control that clearly uses the government apparatus to do its bidding.
Right.
So
if there's a new world order, who's going to enforce it?
These people that they're shaking their hands with. And that's the irony I was finding. And, I don't mind that they poured water on it. I think it was a little childish. I would have gladly, and I said in the video, I would have gladly gave them my own chalk to write their own message. And if we didn't want to interact with one another like adults, we could chalk the messages out. I normally do chalk to start because I don't just want to walk up to somebody and say, you live in a police state, you want to hear why? I chalk. If they want to come up, they can talk about it. We can have a conversation, and that's great.
And I like what you do with offering the chalk. That happened here in Keene when we had the chalk wars a couple years ago in the summer, I believe, of 2014. Where something very similar was happening. There are a few local busybodies who would come into the park at Central Square in Keene and remove peaceful chalking, smiley faces, hearts, peace symbols, things like that, peaceful messages. And I remember Garrett Ian offered the anti-chalkers their own chalk. He had extra chalk. He was more than willing to give it to them. Hey, express yourself. Don't delete other people's expressions. The best solution to speech you don't like is more speech, not the suppression of other people's speech. It's really, I agree with you, childish is absolutely the right word. But the funny thing is, they'll accuse us of being childish simply because of the fact that we're using chalk as our medium.
Well, exactly, and that's what they did point that out, and I try to point back to them the effectiveness, and I won't want to carry 10 signs, but logic doesn't go very far, especially when you say one thing, they immediately resort to another. The guy would say, "What's your job?" I'm like, does it really matter? Does it mean that I don't have a right to spend my money how I see fit? What do you do? I'm not, and it doesn't matter your answer. I still don't have a right to do these things. And then it's like, well, I bet you're a felon, and he's like, name one law that's bad, and I was like, yeah. And then when you answer the questions, it's not even like they absorb it. So, and that I understand for the direct, but definitely the people around. There was 2 individuals after this encounter. One was a 14-year-old kid. He came up, he said, "Man, that was awesome. Thank you," to myself and Kelly. One woman had her iPad on, and she's like, "I appreciate it." She's like, "Those guys, just be safe. They're crazy." She said she saw him harassing some other people. And so, Alex Jones, InfoWars, fear-mongering, and a little bit of hypocrisy, just as a sneak peek for the one video I'm most interested in working on.
And these videos are going to be posted over at copblock.org/RNC2016, or just right there on the front page as well.
Well, I'll most certainly put it into the post, but these polished videos will get their own post as well, and so they can find them at any of the social media outlets, or like you said, copblock.org. Throughout the week, because
awesome.
I got 4 or 5 on the board right here.
So are you moving on to the Democratic National Convention scheduled to kick off in Philadelphia, I believe, tomorrow, or are you going to stay away from that?
I am going to stay away from it just for time. Well, I traveled all the way back from Colorado. I went up to Cleveland. I got a lot of miles on me right now. I got a lot of work to do on this end, but I know that Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Copblock has a good size numbers of folks, and so like more so than there. Yeah, so I'm going to play a stationary role. They're going to have updates and live streams, and then if it is possible, maybe I make it out there Wednesday and Thursday, but it's really probably not likely as a in-person role.
It does seem like it could be a much more in the streets kind of an event with the thousands of Bernie Sanders supporters expected to show up, and they are not happy. So things could get very, very interesting very fast this week.
Yeah, I hope everyone stays safe and keeps the cameras rolling, and if there's breaking news, Copblock will post it. So
excellent. Ademo, anything else you want to share tonight?
That's it. Just thanks for the support, guys, and everyone else who has showed their love. It really made all the difference out there.
Thanks, brother. Keep up the good work. Ademo Freeman, founder of Copblock.org, and we're going to continue. We'll talk more about the human trafficking story on the way here, where somebody who is researching human trafficking ended up being surprised by some of the things they found out. 855-450-FREE. That's our toll-free number. You can join us here on the live Sunday edition of Free Talk Live.
This is a warning to all household pests, to all cockroaches, spiders, ants, rodents, and other pests. If you've just made yourself at home in someone else's home, you'd better hope the owners never hear about Terminix, because Terminix has the know-how and the means to do whatever it takes to remove you from that home. Terminix has over 85 years of experience exterminating invaders like you. And right now, they're making it easier than ever for homes to be protected by offering a free pest estimate to every caller at 1-800-689-2939. Cockroaches, spiders, ants, rodents, and other pests. This is your eviction notice. With one call, Terminix will remove you from the home you've invaded. If you think you can simply come back later, think again. Terminix will protect that home with a 100% satisfaction money-back guarantee, so you can never return. Warning, homeowners are calling Terminix right now for a free pest estimate at 1-800-689-2939. 1-800-689-2939.
Limitations apply. See plan for details.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. Injury Help Desk is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states.
Attention prescription antibiotic drug users. Have you or a loved one suffered an aortic dissection, aortic aneurysm, or abdominal aortic aneurysm after taking the prescription antibiotic drugs Levaquin or Avelox? These popular antibiotic drugs have been prescribed more than 80 million times since 2004, and medical studies show an increased risk of the following injuries: aortic dissection, aortic aneurysm, and abdominal aortic aneurysm. If you or a loved one used the prescription antibiotic drugs Levaquin or Avelox and suffered from aortic dissection, aortic aneurysm, or abdominal aortic aneurysm, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. You may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. I know this sounds unbelievable, but at my house, we saved as much as 45% off of a new item on Amazon. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it! You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live Sunday edition of the program. You're invited to join us here toll free, 855-450-FREE. Maybe you can't get to your phone in time, or you're driving, it's too dangerous, and you want to comment on something we've been discussing here, but it's later. Maybe you're listening via podcast or listening delay broadcast on one of our radio stations that delays the show. You still want to comment? Well, we've got a feedback line now. And here's how you access it. You call up 641-793-9660. That is our audio on-demand listen line. Its main purpose is to let you listen to Free Talk Live and about a dozen shows from LRN.FM on demand. So whenever you want, you can tune into your favorite show over your phone, which means you don't have to spend your data connection amount on listening to LRN.FM's content and Free Talk Live. You can also listen to the LRN.FM live streams. That's the main point of the on-demand listen line at 641-793-9660. But there's a new feature that we added just last week where when you press 2 to listen to Free Talk Live, so you call the number, press 2, then at any point, if you feel so inspired, you can hit 0 and leave us a message. And that message will be delivered to multiple Free Talk Live hosts via their email box. So it's a way for you to give us feedback or possibly get your message played on the air later on. So if you want to try it out, you can call up 641-793-9660. Again, press 2 for Free Talk Live, then press 0 to leave us a message. It's Ian and Mark in the studio tonight. More about human trafficking coming up. But first, Lee is on the line in Texas. Lee, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, good. Go ahead with your thoughts, Lee. You're on the air.
Oh, I was just listening to the show the previous show that played about police chalking, and
that's the same show, but you mean the previous segment. Go ahead, sir. We're right here.
It's the same show?
Yep, that's us. We're here. We're Free Talk Live. I have a lot of experience personally with chalking.
What experience did you have?
Well, I've done a lot of chalking personally. I've been in downtown Keene and in other parts of New Hampshire and have chalked on a number of occasions.
I see. To me, it would be just free speech. I mean, there's no damage done, you know what I'm saying? And so I don't understand.
I've seen people arrested for it. There were the Chalking 8 in Manchester a few years ago where the police, there was a chalking protest. Actually, Ademo was there from Copblockers. He was one of the arrestees in that particular case. It's absolutely outrageous. They arrested 8 people for chalking outside of the police station, and I agree with you. It's completely harmless. The next rain is going to take it away. But nonetheless, they claimed that they had to bring the fire truck out to remove the chalk, and it was just absolutely ridiculous. And they ended up getting convictions in some of those cases, if I recall correctly.
Well, if they had to bring the fire truck out, then it wasn't chalk, it was paint.
Well, they're lying that they had to bring the fire truck out. They did bring the fire truck out, but they didn't have to.
It was just for show purposes.
Exactly. Yep, you're right about that. Lee, was there more you wanted to share on the subject?
Well, I mean, the subject is fairly new to me because I had never heard of police chalking before, but, it doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, amongst the many things that they, laws that they passed, and some laws they haven't passed, it's just make them as they go.
Yeah, that's one of those. This is one of those circumstances where there's not any law against chalking that I know of in most places, but they'll come up with some sort of catch-all like disorderly conduct or graffiti or something like that.
Exactly.
And they know that most people don't have attorneys, can't afford an attorney, and so they know that if they hit somebody with a criminal charge, even if it's fallacious, even if it is total BS, that they're just going to pay the fine and try to make it go away. Lee, welcome to the program. Thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it. The toll-free number, if you want to join us, is 855-450-FREE. But with the folks like Ademo, Freeman, and other cop blockers, they're far less likely to take the plea deal and more likely to actually go to court and make them work for the conviction.
Yeah, and you said it before as far regarding a T-shirt, but if you were writing things on the ground like "Thank God for the police,"
right,
and "God bless our boys in blue," if you were writing things like that, the chances of them calling out a fire truck to hose off what you've said is significantly less. And so one could assume, like just sitting here trying to be as unbiased as I possibly can, and I believe I'm more unbiased than you are on this one, Ian, being as unbiased as I can.
Have you ever chalked?
I can't remember having done that, no.
Okay.
I just wouldn't, I wouldn't consider it a particularly effective protest, so I wouldn't bother doing it. But nonetheless, I did love some of the art that I saw here in Keene. There's some amazing stuff. But if you're only hosing down the stuff with which you disagree, that makes you biased. It
also makes you an a-hole.
That's biased enforcement of laws. And that's it. That's what we hired you for. You are law enforcement officers. If you're making up laws and only enforcing them against people with whom you disagree, that is, the official suppression.
Official oppression?
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm sorry. That's all that is. And anybody who does that should be fired and, frankly, spend a couple of days in jail just to see what it's like.
Yeah, I think it would be fun to troll the police where you send one group of people in to chalk anti-police messages, see what they do, and then go and do some pro-police messages the next day with a different group of people and see how they behave.
Yeah, I don't think they'd know what to do in that circumstance.
All right, so you can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. We've got Bruce. He's in New Mexico. You're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark. Hey, Bruce.
Hey. I was wondering, I was thinking about steroids and HGH and stuff, and then because like our representatives, or even like what if the president just went off the wall, and they go, I think he should be drug tested. Does anybody ever get drug tested in Congress?
No.
I don't think that's so. No, they're not going to pass.
No. Drug tests are okay for them to make you and I do, this little people, but the Congress people, well, I mean, they're using drugs too, so they know they'd get caught, so they would never do that.
So that's a double standard.
Oh, yeah. Cops don't want to get drug tested either. They don't want to get caught for steroids.
Well, so we call our Congress people here in New Mexico constantly.
I bet they love hearing from you.
Huh?
I bet they love hearing from you.
No, man. And Mom called up the gal who's not going to go to the convention. Mom, what'd you say? You wouldn't vote for dog catcher? And then all of a sudden, Susana Martinez showed up, right?
I don't know who that is. Is that a local politician?
That's the governor of New Mexico.
Okay.
That's my mom.
Your mother is the governor of New Mexico?
No, she said she wouldn't vote for Susana Martinez if she's running for dog catcher.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. And then what happened?
Well, then the gal goes, well, Susana has gone to the convention.
Is this Ricky?
No, it's Bruce.
All right.
No, right here. What? Just say.
No, as a 70-year member of the Republican Party, I have just become shaken to the core with their activities this last year. So I said, if there is a running of an election for dog catcher, I shall not be participating.
Because the Republicans have burned you. You're that frustrated with them.
I am that frustrated with them, yes.
Would you be willing to vote third party?
I don't know where the third party I am going to be interested in. I'm not sure.
What is your name? What is your name, Mom?
My name is Carol.
Carol, if you want to hang on, we can talk to you a little bit more here in moments. This is Free Talk Live.
Attention backpackers, on a budget, why spend $80 to $300 to pump clean survival water? Introducing the Viva Water Pump Kit from Viva Outdoor Products. Super easy to use and super lightweight at only 6.5 ounces, the Viva Water Pump Kit provides high flow rate at 1 ounce per stroke, can be one-hand pumped, and is dependable and affordable at only $24.99, filter not included. Get your Viva Water Pump Kit at viba-odp.com from Viva Outdoor Products.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at SurvivorMax.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live Sunday edition of the program. With you in studio, you've got Ian.
And Mark.
We've got Skype. Our Skype username is lrn.fm. You can reach out to us there. Send a contact request first. We'll approve it. And then from that point forward, it's easy for you to call us on Skype and sound really great. You can also call us the old-fashioned way on our toll-free lines at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And also want to let you know that NH Hemp Fest is coming up here in about a month, actually. August 25th through the 28th is when it's going to happen in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire at Rogers Campground. It's a fantastic location. I'm super excited to be heading back to Rogers Campground after more than a year since I've been there last. You will have to be a VIP ticket holder to see Free Talk Live broadcast live at the event, because it's going to be expected to be a very, very large event, so they won't be able to let everybody in to the relatively small broadcast area. But if you can't afford the VIP ticket, and it really isn't that much more expensive,
isn't much more expensive.
Yeah, you'll still be seeing us around, because we're going to be there the whole weekend, and we'll be not only broadcasting live, but I think we're going to be doing an outreach booth there for the Ideas of Liberty, because the HempFest attendees may or may not be familiar with those ideas. So
good idea.
Should be a lot of fun. You can join us, nhempfest.com. Again, August 25th through the 28th, nhempfest.com. As we go back to what was Bruce, but Carol came onto the line here. Carol's Bruce's mother. She says she's with the Republican Party for the last 70 years. Carol, are you still with us?
Just still here. Just go ahead, man.
Can we get Carol back on the line?
Yeah, baby.
Bruce.
Now, Carol was telling us that she is pretty frustrated with the Republican Party today, in a way she's never been frustrated in the past. And Carol, I just wanted to hear a little bit more about your story and what it was that you're upset about, if you're there with us.
You know what?
She doesn't want to do it now. It can be a little intimidating.
Sorry, I have to leave right now.
Oh, okay. Well, that's okay. I tried. I really wanted to hear what she had to say. Hey, Bruce, thanks for the call tonight, man. I appreciate you hanging through there.
Hey.
Yes.
Hey, we used to live in Westport, Connecticut, when it was a sleepy little town. We used to go skiing up in Mount Snow.
Yep.
And back in the day, we used to drive by Paul Newman's house on the way to school in Westport. Back in the '60s.
Yeah, I've never been there. Thanks, Bruce, for the call. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Well, I was hoping we would get more out of Carol as far as, what her experience was and why she decided to be frustrated.
I think a lot of people are frustrated with their political parties this go around.
Interesting that it's affecting, the elderly generation as well.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, they've got principles, too, sometimes.
Let's go to your calls and thoughts here. Josh is in Virginia. Josh, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark. Go ahead.
Hey, I know it's talk about shocking, and I was going to relate that back to Banksy, but I thought I'd give my opinion on what Chris Christie was talking about during the Republican National Convention.
What was Chris Christie talking about? I paid no attention whatsoever to what anyone said at the Republican National Convention.
Well, it's good, because you probably retrieved just as much information as a person who did watch it.
All right. So what was he saying, and what do you want to say about it? Go ahead.
So I've always not liked Chris Christie. Just found him to be the biggest windbag that ever existed on the face of the earth. And if he
is a big man. I've seen him.
Man, not even his lap band could help him.
Yeah.
But what I'm just trying to say is I think he should be disciplined as as an attorney. His occupation being an attorney, he called they were indicting Hillary Clinton like it was a witch trial. And having had family members who were in witch trials, don't know what they went through, but I'll tell you what, it looked pretty similar. There was no defense for Clinton. They just screamed out that she was guilty about every single thing out there, and it looked like more mob than it did an organized party. I'll be honest.
That's kind of what they do, though. I mean, come on, that could happen at the DNC relatively quickly, wouldn't it?
I mean, I don't know. The DNC doesn't have that sort of mentality. They're not wrapped around themselves so tightly that you got angry pus screaming out like a teenage zit on their face.
I think you would, actually. I think you're going to see a lot of screaming.
Watch that DNC.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the last go-round where they, they basically subverted the will of the activists there at the DNC. And I don't know, it had something to do with naming Jerusalem the capital of Israel. I didn't really know what that meant.
I suspect you're going to see some screaming back and forth between the Sanders supporters and the Clinton supporters at the DNC this week.
I mean, you're going to find people there that are all upset about weapons, and then at the same time saying that Trump is literally Hitler. I mean, what in the world would you possibly need a semi-automatic weapon for if somebody who is literally Hitler is going to rise to power, right?
I suppose that's true. In the case of guns, I suggest we all just go back to muskets. It was much easier for everyone else to live. But I want
I
to
don't
thank
think
y'all
that's
for your
gonna
time.
One of the
and I
reasons
think I'll
the
be
colonists
checking on
won
back.
the Revolutionary War was because of their use of rifles, not muskets.
Josh, thanks for your call tonight. I appreciate it. Let's go to Alan. He's in South Carolina, listening to WQXL in Columbia. Hey, Alan.
Hey, what's going on up there in Minnesota and parts of the world that we never get to?
We're not in Minnesota. We're in New Hampshire. But anyway, go ahead.
Oh, New Hampshire, Laconia. Don't forget Bike Week, Laconia.
Yeah, it already happened this year. It was pretty big, from what I understand.
All right, fun stuff. But speaking of politics, everybody talks about the vets and the health care. Why don't the politicians just give the vets the same health care they have?
Give the veterans the same health care that they have. Yeah, certainly there's two classes of men when it comes to politics. There's the politicians, and then there's the rest of us. And the poor veterans got promised, free health care, and unfortunately usually get what you pay for when it comes to that. And they've ultimately been given a socialist health care system, which some veterans will tell you they believe their doctors trying to kill them. That way they have a lower caseload to deal with. Alan, are you on one of those headsets, one of those phone wireless things?
I had you on speaker because I'm losing the radio station.
Yeah, you're super loud, and it's actually kind of hard to understand you.
We're listening to you on the phone now. It's great.
All right. Well,
that's a great setup.
Yeah, welcome aboard. Glad you're out there listening. Are you a veteran yourself?
No, my brothers are, and my in-laws were, my wife's parents, and my brother was in Vietnam. So it's just
I can see why you're concerned.
Close to the heart.
So have you seen them getting screwed over by the veterans system?
My brother, he passed away 10 years ago, but at the end, he wouldn't even go. He said, I'm not going to waste my time because you have to drive 50 miles when the closest doctor is 5 miles.
Yep.
So he just succumbed.
Wow.
So
That's hard. Thanks, Alan, for
is.
sharing that with us tonight. I really appreciate hearing from you. Our toll-free number, if you want to join us, is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
Imagine having a terminal illness and just not feeling like it's worth going to the doctor anymore because of the service you're getting. Certainly,
that's bad service.
Well, certainly not everybody who's in the VA is getting bad service. The VA is really trying hard to turn its act around. But
Are they?
The problem is that they don't have the right incentives. The marketplace is going to provide you with better medical care, and you'll find that with many people who are facing terminal illnesses, say in Canada, they're coming down to the United States to get treatment, not because our treatment is low cost by any stretch of the imagination, but it's because they can get it.
Let's go to Will Coley. He's on the line from Tennessee via Skype. Hello, Will. You're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, guys. How you doing tonight?
Hey, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. It was good seeing you last weekend, Mark. Nice.
Thank you. I got Ian your T-shirt. Appreciate that. It says proper. What is
Taxation
it?
is theft, and it has Uncle Sam wearing a bandit's mask. Very good stuff.
That's right. So I wanted to call and make sure, you guys offer such a great service, having, access to national radio waves. You give, activists and people in the liberty movement and other communities the ability to make sure stories get a national audience. And there's a story, there were a few hundred Muslims got together in D.C. yesterday.
A few hundred Muslims getting together. There must have been bombs going off, babies being murdered. Will, you're going to tell us about it. Hang on. We'll bring you back here in moments. Now, what was really happening? We'll find out. 855-450-FREE is the toll-free number. In the remaining moments of the Sunday edition of Free Talk Live, we may have time for you.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveatpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich, working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare, having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom106.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom, the number 106.com. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom106.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Arcade City is a ride-sharing app built by drivers, not a mega corporation. As a driver with Arcade City, you can keep all of what you earn. Sign up now to drive for or ride with Arcade City at arcade.freetalklive.com. Arcade City is connecting drivers directly with riders and has been making headlines for disrupting the ride-sharing industry. Sign up now at arcade.freetalklive.com. That's arcade.freetalklive.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. Moments remain here, but we've got enough time for you. If you make the call now, we can probably get you in at 855-450-FREE. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
We've got Skype, of course. Our Skype username is LRN.FM. And check out the Shire Society. If you love the ideas of liberty, you owe it to yourself to find out about the Shire Society. It's basically a group of individuals that's in really no way organized, because there's no organization, there's no board of directors to decide anything. What was decided with the Shire Society was decided way back in 2010 when the Shire Society Declaration was written. It was a group project that some of us who have moved here, libertarians, voluntarists who've moved to New Hampshire, we created the Shire Society Declaration. It was based off of actually a L. Neil Smith, one of the pages in his books from the 1980s.
Yep.
And we modified the text, released it. Davi Barker, the Muslim agorist, actually created a very nice kind of hemp paper calligraphied version of the Shire Society Declaration. It was signed by dozens and dozens of people in real life at the Porcupine Freedom Festival back in 2010. and it created this new society. But there's no membership rules. You can sign the declaration without anybody ever knowing that you've signed it. Just go to shiresociety.com. You can print one out there, or if you want to sign publicly, you can sign it on the website there. So that's up to you. But many of the people who've signed that declaration have already moved to New Hampshire or are planning a move to New Hampshire so they can be around other people who love the ideas of freedom. Because it turns out that when you get people who love freedom together in the same geographic area, really awesome stuff can happen. Like activism that has heretofore been impossible within the liberty movement is happening here in New Hampshire because we have a concentration of activists. So go to shiresociety.com. You can learn more, sign the declaration there, and learn more about making the move to the Shire. As we go back to Will, he's on the line from Tennessee. He's one of the creators of Muslims for Liberty, Muslims4liberty.org. And you were calling to let us know that, was it D.C. where a couple hundred or a few hundred Muslims had gathered this weekend?
Yeah, they had. It was called the American Muslim March on Washington, and the theme was Muslims against ISIS, no to terrorism, no to hate, no to violence. And well, what I've noticed is that it's gotten more coverage from international media sources than it's gotten from American media sources.
Yeah, well, what I need to know, Will, is where are all these Muslims that are standing up against ISIS?
Well, they were on the National Mall on Saturday, quite a few hundred of them.
Well, how come I never see Muslims standing up against ISIS, Will?
Oh, I guess it's because the media doesn't think it's a sellable story.
Yeah, I saw you posted this on. I don't know.
But this is the rhetoric you'll hear all the time, right? Like Muslims never do anything or say anything to stand up against the violence of terrorist organizations like ISIS.
Well, yeah, they're
when
saying
in fact
it, but
they do.
But no one's paying attention in the mainstream media.
Nobody cares.
You posted a link to a story on, I believe it was Facebook, about this, pointing out this was the only domestic news source that you could find at that time that was actually covering this event, and it was WTOP in Washington D.C., one of the local news stations there, and their story was basically just, oh yeah, this is happening. There was really no, it was 2 paragraphs long. It had no real meat to it.
Well, what happened was it was originally scheduled for 2 o'clock, but at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday, the temperature in D.C. was around 97, 98 degrees. So it was actually postponed. So you had sparse crowds from 2 until about 6 or 6:30 when people finally started showing up, when the temperature started to cool off. And they had speeches, they had music, they had prayers. Oddly enough, the imam who organized the rally and brought about a dozen Muslim organizational sponsors, probably 6 or 7 interfaith organizational sponsors together, is the same imam that's over the mosque that had a fairly heavily discussed in the media vandalism in Orlando, where a guy went in with a machete and cut up walls and smashed out windows and urinated inside the mosque and things like this. And that imam, the imam over that mosque, is the one who actually put this anti-terrorism, anti-hate rally together. So, we have, a community that they themselves have been targets, have been victims of the rhetoric, what comes from the rhetoric against the Muslim community. And they're the ones who are also putting that hand out there saying, someone needs to stand up against these things. Someone needs to speak out against these things.
So despite being attacked, having their property destroyed, they are remaining peaceful.
Yeah, not only remaining peaceful, but actually they're the ones that led the charge for this particular event to condemn terrorism, to condemn ISIS, and to condemn the hate that those kinds of actions are breeding here on our own shores among our own citizenry.
Will, thanks for the update on that. I appreciate the call tonight. That's Will Coley from Muslims for Liberty. You can join us here, toll-free number 855-450-FREE. Let's talk to Shane in North Dakota. Shane, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark.
Yes.
Hey, Shane.
A couple of topics back, you were discussing the lady that was researching human trafficking, the sex trafficking.
Yeah, we barely got started on that story, but yes, we were briefly discussing that.
It was they're doing the same. I'm up here in the oil patch, right? And they had they were doing a story on the same issue. There's prostitution up here, and then they inflate it and call it the sex trafficking.
Right.
And they go and they find these ladies, and it's the same thing like you were saying. They down on their luck ladies, and this is what they found as a quick way to make a buck. And that's probably a cold way to say it, but
that's what it is. I mean, obviously, prostitutes aren't in the business because they really like to have sex with a whole bunch of ugly men. I mean, that's not the reason they're doing it, ladies and gentlemen. It's because of the money. The same reason the vast majority of us go to work every day, because it's the money. And if you have to do something that's distasteful and make a lot more money doing it, well, then you're going to probably consider that.
Oh, this one lady that was actually narrating this documentary, she got interviewed by the local radio station, and she was playing a couple of her quote unquote victims, and the lady I was like, are you listening what this lady's saying? She isn't really, outside of a down on her luck story, she's not, she's actually saying, hey, just like these guys are making a lot of money up here, so am I, and the lady kept trying to give it a different angle, well, these men are filthy, and she's like, you know what, if they need a bath, I charge them an extra $200.
Right. It's not trafficking if you're free to leave.
Right, and that's what I mean. Think about the stories of the guys who are working, the roughnecks that are up there working the oil fields. Many of them are going to have stories about how life was more difficult than before they came up there and got the job they got, and that's it. Everybody's got hard luck stories, and pretty much everybody's got to have a job to support themselves. And the idea that really what this comes down to is, it sounds very much to me like people who are victims of sex crimes or just hate men generally want to vilify male sexuality. Female sexuality it's cute, it's nice, it's pleasant, it's worth holding up. Male sexuality, dirty, dangerous, bad.
Shane, good call. Thanks for making it tonight. I appreciate the input. Let's bring Jim on here for some remaining thoughts in this show. Jim, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark.
Ian and Mark, thank you for a refreshing perspective on talk radio. Wow, I'm sitting there. First, I want to apologize to you for any New Mexico callers that seem confusing. Our state is 49% functionally illiterate, so sorry about that. Two, I want to say thank you for bridging the subject of prostitution, because I believe it should be legalized and taxed.
Well, I don't think it should be taxed, but it should be legalized.
It probably would be, though.
People should be free to do business with one another consensually without having the government get involved. But yeah, I'll meet you halfway on that. Let's go with legalization.
Well, the thing of it is, Queensland, Australia has the Queensland Brothel Authority, and they regulate and ensure that the prostitutes are medically checked, and they have to pay taxes, of course, through the doctors to get their license to work for that month. And then, of course, they're forced to use condoms and other forms of protection to stop the spread of disease. But what's even better for those who have diseases, they can operate their own brothels. And if you have a certain affliction, you can go to that one. And
right, if you've already got, whatever... Yeah, herpes. You can have sex with a prostitute that has AIDS. Hey, Jim, we're short on time, man. Thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it. Definitely don't support taxes, but I do support legalization. If that's the only way you can have it, then I'll take it.
Everybody who works gets taxed, and there's a lot of licenses out there.
But we can have the marketplace come up with ways to test people. You don't need the government to do that stuff. You don't need a one-size-fits-all government program. Let the market bloom, 100 options. We'll see you tomorrow night. Online in the meantime, freetalklive.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends radio show. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgoristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agorist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers, and some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any tomfoolery. So go with AgoristHosting.com. And if you want to get your foot in the door with decentralized marketplaces, Agorist Hosting is now offering Open Bazaar hosting. Go to agoristtoasting.com. Click on the button that says Get Hosted. Agorist Hosting. That's AGORIST hosting.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
The Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, July 24th, 2016. Silver is trading at $19.64 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,322 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $661. Antiwar.com reports a public protest by Afghanistan's Shiite Hazara minority in Kabul turned tragic on Saturday when the Islamic State launched a suicide bombing against the demonstration, killing at least 80 people and wounding at least 231 others. The Hazaras were protesting over the planned route of a power transmission line from Turkmenistan to Kabul, calling for it to be rerouted through a pair of provinces with large Shiite populations to ensure the electricity supply there. The government has argued this change in route would take years and cost millions of dollars more. The Islamic State was quick to claim credit for the attack, saying a pair of suicide bombers with explosive belts got into the crowd and detonated, causing huge casualties. The death toll is the single deadliest attack on the Shiite minority during the entire U.S. occupation. The Hazaras are often discriminated against and targeted for their beliefs, both in Afghanistan and Pakistan. Such attacks are usually small attacks of opportunity against pilgrim buses or the like. This attack was much larger because such a large crowd was gathered. Indeed, throughout much of the war, the Hazara-dominated provinces in central Afghanistan were simply ignored by the Taliban, who mostly just worked around those regions. Though the Taliban persecuted the Hazaras when they were in power, they've appeared less desperate to target them directly during the insurgency than most smaller groups. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports Hillary Clinton formally unveiled her vice presidential pick, Virginia Senator Tim Kaine, at a rally in Florida on Saturday, calling him everything that Donald Trump and Mike Pence are not. Kaine quickly displayed what may turn out to be one of the biggest attributes on the campaign trail, his fluency in Spanish, delivering remarks in both Spanish and English at Florida International University in Miami, a school with 60% Hispanic student population. Kaine is Virginia's former governor and, prior to that, the mayor of Richmond. He made a point of highlighting his unblemished campaign win-loss record throughout his career, saying to Applause, "I've never lost an election. I don't mind powerful groups campaigning against me. It's just like an extra cup of coffee to me." Kaine acknowledged average Americans may not have heard of him before, but pledged he would work hard to convince voters he is worthy of being a heartbeat away from the presidency. Kaine is a married father of 3 with a son in the Marines who is about to deploy to Europe. He made a point of mentioning his son's military service as a means to attack Trump over comments he made recently about refusing to defend NATO allies if attacked by Russia. Clinton introduced Kaine at the rally, calling him ready to become president at a moment's notice. Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs offers premium publicity campaigns designed to facilitate an organization's adoption of Bitcoin as a payment system and to fully capitalize on that decision in their fundraising efforts. Bitcoin Not Bombs is fully committed to being the hub of the nonprofit sector of the Bitcoin economy, maximizing the potential cross-promotion of all our clients and commercial partners. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com. Reuters reports the Dallas Police Department, which was struggling to recruit officers, has seen a surge in job applications after the shooting this month that killed 5 officers and brought global attention to the Texas city. During the 12 days following the July 7th shooting, the department said it got 467 job applications, a 344% increase compared with the 136 in a similar period in June. Recently, the police department has had to cancel academy classes because there were not enough applicants. Potential officers in the North Texas region have often opted for departments in fast-growing cities surrounding Dallas, where starting pay is typically higher than in Dallas. Dallas Police Chief David Brown put out the call for new recruits at a news conference last week, where he spoke of the deaths of 5 officers and the actions of others to save lives at a rally that marked the deadliest day for U.S. law enforcement since September 11th, 2001. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
America is at a crossroads on many issues, leading many to ask, is it time for the president to blow the silver horn left behind by the Founding Fathers in case the country ever needed them? Of course, the horn, which has been sitting in the Oval Office since 1817, has never been used by a commander-in-chief, but many Americans think now might be the time to summon our forefathers. Which Founding Fathers would come back?
All of them. Look, when you have a bug problem, you call the exterminator. When you have an America problem, you call the Founding Fathers. They know what to do.
We have to keep in mind the Founding Fathers left us with a warning. If you blow the horn with less than pure intentions, it will turn to tin and can never be used.
But a president has to take risks, have the courage to admit that his administration is not all-knowing, and blow that magic silver horn to summon someone who is.
Yes, but what if we become too reliant on them and they disappear after the next new moon, as was written?
This is the Onion News Network.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Good evening. Goodness gracious. So, wow. So this, all right, let's start over.